Well, if it is our wonderful podcast listener, the ones that all of us on hams love the most. Dana here to give you a little gentle reminder to hit up our friends at Standard Heating and Air Conditioning and tune up that AC before it fully turns into crotch soup season. June through August are Standard's busy season for getting AC units up to snuff, so get ahead of the curve and have them ensure you don't have a summer where you pit out every shirt you own. Book in May during their pre-summer heat savings event, and you'll beat the rush and save yourself some walking around money. Call Standard Heating today or visit standardheating.com. Enjoy the show. We sincerely appreciate you checking us out each and every day.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show. 93.
Well, I'll be. How wonderful it is to be greeting you again for the Thursday version of the 93X Half-Assed Morning Show. I'm digging the vibe so far. You feel it, Josh?
I do. We have a...
Mostly good vibes going around.
100% good vibes.
Yeah.
Is there any bad vibes we need to address right away, or is it good? I did something for you.
No, I haven't felt, like I said, I'm feeling all good vibes.
All right, yeah, you said mostly, so it made me a little nervous.
Oh.
I did something for you, though.
You changed up your wardrobe?
I did, yeah.
Oh, good job, John.
Let me see what you got. I haven't seen you. Give folks background on this deal now.
So yesterday, see, this is what happens. You know how it is. You put on your Sunday outfit, and then you wear it the entire week. You know,
Sure.
Me, like everybody else. And I had a blue sweatshirt on and essentially the same color shorts.
Yeah.
And,
silly looking.
I got so much crap for it. By the way, and I agree. I deserve the crap. I know it's silly. I just grabbed it and went with it.
Other than in the building, you got crap from other people?
No, in the building.
Okay, in the building.
The biggest boss walked in here yesterday because he had to see what everyone was talking about.
Oh, he did?
He did.
Oh.
Yeah, he showed up and just said, I got to see this outfit that you're wearing. And he agreed. Silly.
Yeah.
But he did say, I thought it would be worse.
You kind of look like an 8th grader going to his basketball game, wearing all his team colors.
Well, that's what I've said it before. Adam Sandler and I, we have far, far different bank accounts, but we do dress exactly the same.
And you're funny.
No, he's funny.
So, yeah, yesterday we were busting your balls over your matching blue sweatsuit type operation. I have not seen you this morning below the waist. Here you are seated across from me in the studio. So I can see what you're wearing on your upper body.
Same sweatshirt.
Yeah, same sweatshirt. But I don't know what you got going on. Black shorts.
Much better.
Done. Well done. I would prefer pants on a man your age.
Oh, no.
But no, it's a great improvement, and you look so much better.
I just realized something.
What happened?
I thought they were black, too. These are actually dark blue.
I didn't notice.
That's okay.
It's all right,
That's
though?
okay because it's a far different color than what you're wearing on your upper body.
So I'm still, even though it's blue and blue, I'm all right.
Well, it doesn't look blue at all.
I thought they were black as well.
Your
but
shorts
I get dressed
don't
in the
look
dark.
blue. It's a great enough contrast between the two colors to where you are fine now. I have no room to criticize your look.
Now, Ashley, you said yesterday that had you seen me with the outfit I was wearing yesterday, if you just saw me in public, we didn't know each other, you would turn to your husband now, or fiance still.
Yep.
And you would say something negative about my outfit.
Yes.
And it's not the same today?
No, you're safe now.
Well, that's quite the improvement.
I'm not judging anymore.
Everything's coming up, Josh, today.
You look great.
Thank you very much.
You look great.
Wanted to say thank you and hello to Songbird Jesus, usually a podcaster, but said they're listening live this morning. They're on their way to the airport, going to Vegas.
Sweet.
I'll be damned.
We appreciate
safe.
you tuning in. Oh, I see Snacks Jesus is a part of that, too. So thank you, Songbird Jesus and Snacks Jesus. Appreciate that big time.
On their way to Las Vegas. That sounds like just a hell of an operation.
Only been there once. Oh,
Yeah, me too. Once was enough.
Yep.
that was pretty good. I had heard so many good things about it, and there's nothing disparaging I could really say, but I just realized my wife and I went for our honeymoon, and we realized maybe this isn't necessarily what we're into. I only gambled once, and it was for a coworker here. He said, put 10 on black, roulette. I did, instantly lost, and then we went and saw Chris Angel. That was pretty much...
Chris Angle. Yeah.
Pretty much how it went.
The crazy comic.
He was awesome, by the way.
He dresses like he's constantly endorsing, what was that hip clothing store there for a while?
There's been a few. Like Hot Topic?
No, it doesn't matter. Chris, I haven't seen or heard from him in a long time. I remember you went to go see the Chris Angle show. Oh, I got it. Now I can wrap up the joke. He dresses like he's constantly endorsing Hollister.
Boy, it's been a while since
I love Hollister.
It doesn't matter. We don't need to spend any more time on that joke. Where was I going with this? Oh, can I tell you just one really quick Vegas story? Maybe Dana would appreciate this more than anyone else in the room. One of my old high school buddies is a big gambler. He'll spend 8 hours a night on the pull tabs. He'll play blackjack, poker, slot machines, roulette, every effing thing. He's a junkie. So he goes to Vegas quite often. And one night he walked into one of those by-damn casinos, and he sat down at the blackjack table. I think it was blackjack. And he'd done it so many times, he didn't even bother to look around at who was sitting at the table with him. He just sat down, put down his money. He's looking at his cards. He's doing whatever he does when he plays blackjack. And all of a sudden he looked to his left and, oh, Jesus, and he looked to his right. He was sitting at the same blackjack table as WWE legends Mae Young and the Fabulous Moolah.
Whoa. That's
pretty
incredible.
That's right.
Was this before or after she gave birth to the hand?
After.
Oh, was the hand there? Or probably the hand was at daycare?
Being babysat, yes.
So it was also after the Dudley boys put her through a table?
After. But she was still hurting.
Yeah, I bet.
She was still hurting.
Well, I mean, so was he at a high roller table, or were they just like the rest of us?
I think it was just an average setup. I don't think it was any kind of a high roller opera. Fabulous Moolah and Mae Young. Josh, do you mind if I ask you something here? What do I have here for you? I know it's early, but I'm going to ask you to dig deep for your life partner. Would you? Would you dig deep for me?
For you, I would do anything.
You might have to think about this for a minute. Or maybe not. I don't know. It depends. Have you ever felt used?
Absolutely.
You have?
Yeah.
Explain. You tell us about what came to mind right away when I asked you the question, have you ever felt used?
Well, I'm a little nervous because it just happened, and the person's going to know who I'm talking about.
Have you ever been used for your body?
No, not at all. That's been disappointing.
You ever been used for your money?
No.
Oh, okay. Where were you
got to
going?
have that first. I said I would do anything for you, so I'm going to say it, even though this person, if they happen to be listening, they're going to know exactly who I'm talking about.
I'm guessing they're grown folks. They can handle it.
And I actually told you this off the air. I received a message from someone we knew a long time ago.
Oh, yeah.
And haven't talked to in, 10 years?
Probably more. I know who you're talking about, so I can help you out. Probably more than 10 years since you've communicated with this person.
Yeah, no bad feelings, nothing like that.
I don't know about that.
I know you're not a fan.
But didn't we all collectively kind of end on a bad note?
Oh, I don't remember. Did we? I forget that stuff so quick. Was it a bad note? Really?
I think we ended on a bad note. Okay, because I also know this person. Okay, yes, it's been more than 10 years, and they contacted you.
They did, and there was no real greeting. No, my gosh, it's been a while.
Right.
This person said fond memory. So I guess I don't remember but you're probably right?
When they contacted you recently for the first time in over a decade, they didn't say, well, hey, man, I've been missing you. I've been thinking about you. They didn't say any of that.
No.
What did they say?
Well, they wanted to impress a new girlfriend.
Uh-huh.
And so...
As if that's your problem.
Right. Well, hey,
right.
I'll help out. Whatever you need, I'll do my best. And requested perhaps the toughest ticket anybody could ever get. Looking for a concert ticket.
I love that.
And not any concert, a real tough one.
No, one that I thought, I don't think I could get tickets if I was announcing the show. I don't know that would even be possible. I put in a request. They said, no. What are you crazy? You can't do that.
That, I can understand why you felt used in that moment. This person has not bothered to contact you for a long, long time for anything else, to check on your overall well-being or anything. But when they need concert tickets to try to wrangle a BJ out of a new girlfriend, they call you.
Honestly, though, I'd rather have that happen than when the person texts you and pretends that they're interested in what you got going on.
Right,
and
like they're catching up.
Yeah, and then asks for concert tickets.
Well,
okay.
I suppose if you
this was pointless?
if you can easily see through their comments and tell that they're not being sincere in asking how you're doing, sure, I guess that. I see where you're going with that.
I told you before, I used to have a nickel bud, I would call him, because anytime Nickelback would come to town, he would strategically reach out maybe 2 weeks before the show. Bruh, we haven't seen each other forever. We got to get together. A week prior to the show, hey, I saw Nickelback's coming to town. How would a person acquire tickets to something like that?
I have no
is
idea.
there a phone number?
Just
a
generally
website?
speaking, how would someone acquire tickets to go see? How about in a romantic relationship? Have you ever felt used?
No. Well, there was one time, I don't know if I was being used because this was a longer relationship.
Yes.
Again, we've lived our lives together longer than we haven't at this point, so you know all these stories.
It's true. We have lived our lives together longer than we've been apart.
There's a woman I was dating.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of on and off again for many years, right? And I'd say probably cumulatively about 6 years. And so she one time commented on the appearance of one of the worst people that has ever worked here, personality-wise, looks-wise. And it kind of seemed like she was done with me and wanted to move on to this person. And I remember thinking at first, well, you're obviously kidding because
oh, God,
that person is so bad on the outside, but even worse on the inside, which seems like that would be impossible.
So unattractive in every possible way, this person. So in that moment, you felt as if maybe she was all along using you to get to this other douchebag.
I was wondering, not all along, because we knew each other in high school and stuff like that.
Oh.
But eventually I kind of thought, is she staying together with me to try and get a hookup? And I even said, hey, if you want to move on, that whatever you want to do. I don't want to be keeping you, holding you back here.
And when she announced an attraction to this other person,
I'll never forget where we were.
You were shocked.
I called you to say, what's happening here?
Right.
And it's not like, it wasn't a jealousy thing or whatever. I honestly didn't care. It's like, okay, if you want to break up, great. But I was just like, wait, that person?
Right.
I can't believe it. We were at the Mermaid in Mounds View.
The Mermaid?
We were maybe two, what was there, Scooby snacks into the night.
Yeah.
That was like the shots we always did there. And she brought this up, and I thought, well, there's no way. You're going to have to repeat that because you're not going to believe what I thought you just said.
Yeah.
But she meant it.
Of all the people.
Yeah.
Of all the people that your current, well, not current, of all the people that your girlfriend at the time could have announced an attraction to, I would have never bet on who she announced an attraction to because he
wouldn't even come to mind for it.
He was a disgusting person in every way.
This is a funny situation, but this isn't really being used. This kind of fits the conversation.
Yeah.
Just on Wednesday.
Yesterday.
Last Wednesday.
Oh, okay.
When I was at the airport with the family, we're getting ready to go to Boston. So we're sitting there. We had a big delay. We're getting a little schnookered there at the bar.
Schnookered.
And my son, Cam, his girlfriend, she said, oh, you know what? A coworker listens to 93X. And I said, oh, my boyfriend's stepdad works there, right? And he's like, oh, my gosh, that's something right there. Really? He works there, huh? What are the odds I could talk to him about something? And she's like, well, he's a nice guy, for sure, whatever you want. And so what I found out is he wanted to talk to me about how to meet Nick.
Sometimes being used is worth it. He wants to meet me, eh?
Somebody says, why are all these stories this morning about Ross? None of them are.
Not one of them.
Not one has been about Ross.
We're not afraid to sell him. We're not afraid to sell anybody out. But how do I put it? We don't like lawyers. I was just reading something or another. There are some people out there, and here I have to, I'll make this statement first. I'm sure this happens all the time. I have to admit I'm very naive on this subject. I would never suspect I'm being used in a romantic relationship.
There's nothing worth using me for.
That's part of it. Mm-hmm. That's part of it. But also, however I'm wired, I just would never consider that. Because I'm just naive to that type of thinking. Hey, I'm going to fake a liking to this person in order to gain something for myself. I would just never think that way. So I'm naive all the way around on this subject. But I was reading something or another. There are some people out there who will straight up admit that they 100% used someone in a romantic relationship. They became a couple and the whole works. Sexual organs were traded back and forth, everything that goes along with a romantic couple. That they straight up used their significant other in order to gain something. It's one thing, like Josh was explaining, for a low-life ex-coworker to call him after 15 years and say, "Can I get some tickets?" That's one thing. But to intentionally get yourself involved in a relationship, go out on dates, engage in sex acts with them, meet their friends and family, and your real goal is to gain money or whatever it might be. So where the hell did I put this? Here it is.
That's psychotic.
That's some real narcissistic behavior.
Yeah,
I agree.
To go that far, I've definitely been afraid that I'm being used in numerous situations. I think it's more normal for women to feel that way because of sexual acts and such.
Look,
and also I've had, especially when I was, the last time I was single, when I was dating.
Of sexual acts.
When I was dating and I was using Hinge, it was pretty common after like the first date or two, actually sometimes the first date, that they were really excited to introduce me to their friends as the girl on the morning show. And
I've heard that before about myself.
I hated that.
Okay. So you've had a few occasions where you walked away from even everything from a brief relationship to a little bit of a longer relationship. You've walked away and said, for Christ's sake, that guy just wanted regular sex.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I totally. I can.
But I mean, most of the time I'm like, whatever. I don't care.
But yeah.
Up at the crack of dawn, Jesus said he has a buddy who stayed with his girlfriend way too long so he could use her Netflix password.
Netflix password?
It's like $8 a month, man.
Not anymore.
You can have mine.
It is. That would be worth it now, Dana. It's like $30 a month.
Does it really?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Listen to some of these examples of people who openly admit to using a significant other. Got into a full-blown relationship and everything. Here's an individual. I don't know what this means. I dated a guy because he was a Michelin star chef.
That's a very fancy chef.
You know what? I get it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Michelin, I'm thinking tires, of course.
I think it's related in some way. Let me look that up.
But that's how they rank the highest chefs. If you're a Michelin star chef, you're in one of the fanciest restaurants in the world.
But it has something to do with the tire company?
I
don't
heard that
know.
before.
Oh, okay. I've never heard that said out loud before. So a lady says, I dated a guy just because he was an unbelievable chef. The food he made was amazing, but he was a total douche. But she dated the guy, boned him and everything because she could wake up and have a 5-star plate of biscuits and gravy. That's so friggin', like you said, Ashley, that's how an insane person thinks.
I would probably go out on maybe a couple dates with this guy for a nice meal, but I wouldn't dedicate any serious time to that.
And this guy's probably not a total moron. He probably walked away and said, for Christ's sake, she just did that for biscuits and gravy. You know what I mean? She only dated me for my biscuits and...
Can you teach me a few things?
Right.
I Googled it, And it says the Michelin Stars, prestigious culinary award awarded by the Michelin Tire Company.
All right. Well,
By the way,
Dana,
yes. People are wondering if you're still using your ex-wife's Netflix password.
No, I'm not.
You're all done with that?
No, yeah, that one's done.
How many streaming services do you use other people's passwords for?
Me and my friends, we all just kind of share them. We split them. You know, somebody gets that one, somebody gets this one. We all just kind of pass them around.
Are you holding up your end of the bargain, or are you?
No, yeah, absolutely. What do I pay for? I pay for Peacock. I just got a notification about that yesterday, and there's one other one, I think Paramount Plus.
But you have pretty much all of them at this point?
Now, here is an individual who admits to dating a guy for a few years. A few years. Because he was a radio DJ and he could get her concert tickets and meet and greets.
You know, that's how it was back in the day. It's not that much. It's not really that way anymore. You know, it's not like before. It seemed like it was easy to get concert tickets. Meet and greets, not so much. I mean, that, at least in my experience, it wasn't super easy to do something like that.
It's a little different now. I mean, we are lucky. We can still usually get our hands on tickets to a lot of events that come to town or ball games and things like that. It's not quite as easy as it used to be, and I don't exactly know why. But like I said, I've considered myself very, very lucky over the years. So here we go. This gal dated this guy for a few years because he was a friggin' DJ, and she could get sweet concert tickets and meet and greets. She said the guy was insufferable, which makes sense.
She did say he's in radio.
He definitely carried a "don't you know who I am" vibe, which is just the worst. The worst, but yet the most common disease that radio people can catch quite easily.
Yeah, and I'll never understand that. Not in radio.
No, I never will.
I hate when people make a big deal out of it. I'm like, no. I am nothing.
Oh, for God's sake, Ashley. Please don't say that about yourself.
I didn't mean it that seriously. Sorry. It sounds depressing.
Dated the guy for a few years. It is kind of funny, real quick on a side note, it is kind of funny how some people think we operate. We've mentioned before that I don't know how many times over the years, Josh, we've met listeners who assumed that we spent all day and all night together. Where I don't know how many times I fielded this question where I'll be at a bar gig. Well, where's Josh?
Oh, I love those questions.
Where's Josh? Well, he's probably at home.
Sleeping? Yeah. I don't know.
Where's the rest of the morning show? I have absolutely no idea where anyone else is right now. But for whatever reason, there are some people who assume we constantly hang out together.
Yeah.
Hell no, we ended up killing each other. So it leads me to this story. I was dating a girl many, many years ago, and I used to have a lot of beer parties at my house back in those days. And my girlfriend at the time invited one of her friends to come to this beer party. So my girlfriend says to her friend, "Hey, do you want to come over to Nick's party tonight? He's having a beer party." And her girlfriend says, "Oh, wow. I'm up for a 93X party." And my girlfriend said, "What?" And her friend said, "Oh, I'd love to go to a 93X party." And she said, "No, it's his fellow loser high school friends. It's not like just because a guy that works in radio is having a party doesn't mean that the station vehicle is going to be there and we're giving away tickets to the Goo Goo Dolls and the overnight guy and the night lady and no, it's just a
big spotlight on the driveway flashing in the sky.
Special appearance by Andrew WK. No, it's just a party." Anyway, back to this topic real quick.
If Andrew WK was there, it would be a party.
Right.
Party. By the way, the brother and sisterhood, they know everything. Aside from being very attractive and hilarious, the Michelin thing started the ratings of these chefs so people would go on road trips more and say, "Oh, I'm going to go check out this restaurant. That chef works there. Oh, I put a lot of miles in my car. I'm going to need some new tires." That kind of thing.
That's amazing how people
Pretty genius.
That is.
Thank you for the info.
Real quick, we'll wrap this up. Feel free to text us if you cold-blooded bastard that you are, if you've used someone, straight up used them. And what we're looking for is you were actually in a, somewhat committed, normal, romantic relationship with them. I mean, we'll welcome all stories. Josh's story about being used, a couple times for concert tickets. Those are great stories, too. But I'm really drawn to the idea that someone would go through all of the regular routines that a couple goes through, but you're not even really interested in that person. You're just using them for something. Either way, 651-989-9393. Here is an individual who spent 6 months dating a trust fund baby just because we just brought that up a couple days ago, how great a trust fund baby I would have been. I spent 6 months dating a trust fund baby just because I wanted to see how the other half lived.
That's fair.
That would be pretty fun.
I bet that one's kind of common of these types of stories.
Yeah.
You might think, boy, there's a lot of fringe benefits dating this loser.
Maybe the oldest trick in the book, dating someone or marrying someone just for their friggin' money.
I guess I'm slightly guilty of this.
Uh-oh.
When I was dating, there was this guy, and he was all right, I guess. He did call me by the wrong name twice.
Ooh.
But he was doing like a cool, his family was like going up to like this really fun cabin for a weekend. And I thought, this probably isn't going to go anywhere. I'm wasting my time here, but I really wanted to go and have fun at this cabin. So I stuck it out, and it was a really fun weekend.
But it was only for a weekend.
Right.
Yeah, and then it was over. Yeah.
I'm not going to judge anyone for that.
I'm kind of guilty too, Ashley. There was a girl one summer that I liked her. But I loved the fact that she had central air conditioning.
It was so comfortable over there.
Oh, yeah. And I lived in the dumpiest apartment with no air, not even a window unit. And it was like it was like summer like 2011 or something. It was so hot. And I love that central air.
I can think of a couple with people I know. I've never knowingly done that. I'd rather just get out of the relationship. But one guy, this was one of the coldest, how do you say that?
I'm not sure.
Cold-bloody? I don't know what to say.
One of the most cold-blooded.
Cold-blooded, that's how you say it.
One of the most cold-blooded moves.
Thank you.
Yeah. We would have been here all day.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ashley.
You had trouble, too?
Yeah,
okay,
I had no idea.
It's our age. That would have came to me easier earlier in my life.
Yeah.
So I lived in an apartment building with my best friend at the time, and we shared a wall. I mean, we were right next to each other. We were at each other's apartments all the time, and he came over to my house one morning and eating a bowl of cereal. I'll never forget. And I was like, hey, what's going on? He's like, I think I'm going to break up with my girlfriend today. And they've been dating about a year. And I was like, I'm sorry to hear that. I know you guys were pretty good together for a while. He's like, nah, it's about time. He's like, I'm just kind of waiting for, she's cleaning my apartment and she's making lasagna. So as soon as she gets that done, I'm going to let her know. And I thought, you couldn't break up with her before she puts in a hard day's work?
Oh, no.
He's going to get a clean apartment.
And he's one of the nicest guys I know, too.
And a big bucket of lasagna out of the deal before he gasses the relationship.
I would take the lasagna with me if I was her.
Yeah. And I know a guy, too, who wanted to break up with a girl, but they were a month away from a vacation they'd planned a while ago. And he said he didn't want to lose the money. So he was non-refundable. He's like, hey, I'm going to Maui or wherever they were going.
Mm-hmm. Here's a gal who only dated a guy because he worked for the local NBA team. I dated him with hopes it might lead to me banging a player. Once I realized that was out of the cards, I dumped him.
Well, you can't hook me up with Mike Conley Jr., so you're out.
Right. My high school boyfriend was only my boyfriend because his parents bought him a Range Rover.
I bet that's common in high school for things like that. The kid who's got the cool house or something.
Or the kid who's 21 and, you're 20.
Oh, sure.
They can buy for you.
What a friggin' setup some of yous have out there. We welcome, again, like I said, we welcome your text messages on the topic of being used or using somebody, 651-989-9393. Thanks for being so open about that, Josh, when I originally asked the question. I knew I could count on you.
Like I said, I'd do anything for you.
Yeah, you would, because you want to get to my sister.
Oh, the opportunities that I missed. This is funny, and I think everyone knows what this means, and certainly guys would have an experience with this. He said, I broke up with a few girls after a case of post-nut clarity, which is a real thing. It is. Which is a real thing.
It'll clean out the cobwebs.
Sometimes afterwards, you're like, listen, there were some promises I made that I don't think I can keep. There were some emotions I shared that might not have been as accurate as they could have been.
Oh, God, yeah. That's a real thing. All right, we got to take a little break, Ski, but you're a dynamite crowd, and before you know it, we'll be coming at you correct with the stupid news here on the Half-Assed Morning Show.
93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
Well, if it isn't our wonderful podcast listener, the ones that all of us on hams love the most. Dana here to give you a little gentle reminder to hit up our friends at Standard Heating and Air Conditioning and tune up that AC before it fully turns into crotch soup season. June through August are Standard's busy season for getting AC units up to snuff, so get ahead of the curve and have them ensure you don't have a summer where you pit out every shirt you own. Book in May during their pre-summer heat savings event, and you'll beat the rush and save yourself some walking around money. Call Standard Heating today or visit standardheating.com. Enjoy the show. We sincerely appreciate you checking us out each and every day.
This is a mini meditation guided by Bombas. Repeat after me. I'm comfy. I'm cozy. I have 0 blisters on my toes. And that's because I wear Bombas, the softest socks, underwear, and T-shirts that give back. One purchased equals one donated. Now go to bombas.com/listen and use code LISTEN for 20% off your first purchase. That's bombas.com/listen and use code LISTEN at checkout.
I'm Paula Pan. I help people make the smartest money decisions possible. Because let's face it, money's too important to wing it.
What you'll hear is a couple money geeks sitting and talking about this stuff that we're so passionate about.
You name it. Anything that's on your mind. Retirement, debt, student loans, saving for college.
It's a personal finance journey. It is a wide-ranging squirrel conversation about the topic of personal finance and good financial planning. Super fun.
Afford anything. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
Stupid news on the Half-Assed Morning Show.
Dudes, we're going to lead off today's Stupid News Report. We're going to lead off with the kind of thing that I'd love to see on one of those world's funniest animals type television programs. But I think this is probably a little too dark for that. What do you think, Josh? Do you think they'd ever show this kind of thing on the world's? Because you already know the story. It's probably too dark because there's kids watching.
Yeah, I don't know. It's one of those where I want to love it, and it's funny, but you're right, it is kind of dark.
Here's where we're going.
And I hope it's not symptomatic of a big problem in this particular community. That's my fear.
Yeah, I hear you. Here's where we're going with this. Do you like those shows, Ashley? Do you watch World's Funniest Animals?
Yeah, I love stuff like that.
Look at that goat. He's wearing a football jersey.
There's actually a video. I should send it to you guys. I've been stuck on it lately, and I'm sure other people have seen it. It's a little monkey in a snowsuit playing at a park.
Well, that's adorable.
He just likes to go down this slide over and over again, and the snowsuit makes him stiff, so he just flies down the slide.
I can't put my arms down.
He lands on his back or his head. It's so cute.
It always gets me when animals do people type things.
Oh, yeah. Unbelievable.
Like one of my dogs sits on the couch like a person.
Mm-hmm.
What is he doing?
When people come over, they love it. It's just so stupid. It's
dong hanging off to the side, for Christ's sake.
Why is it so big? I don't like him for that reason.
Here's where I'm going with all this. Love to see this type of thing on a World's Funniest Animals type television program, but it's probably a little dark. In a place called Akron, Ohio, a 55-year-old gal by the name of Victoria got pulled over by the police for an outstanding warrant. She was driving on a suspended license also, but none of that matters at all. The reason, everybody, and they mama, is talking about this Victoria gal in Akron, Ohio, is because one of the passengers in her car was her damned pet raccoon.
Trash panda.
Cute, right? She's got a pet raccoon in the car.
Yeah, that's fun.
But here's the deal now. After the cop got Victoria out of her vehicle and under arrest, and by the way, the car was absolutely filled with garbage. But that also doesn't really matter. It is just something to see. I've seen some disgusting motor vehicles before. This one might be the all-timer.
Well, I have a couple in my family I'd like you to run through before you make a final determination.
Even you've seen the video. Even you would even compare their vehicles to what we saw in this video?
Oh, one for sure.
Dude. So, after the cop got Victoria out of her vehicle and under arrest, while the cop was standing by Victoria's driver's side window, and just the raccoon was still in the motor vehicle, the raccoon pulled a meth pipe out of the garbage pile in the car and tried to smoke it.
No.
The raccoon has her meth pipe.
As what?
Oh my God.
Her meth pipe. He's playing with the meth pipe right now. Oh, there's no way. He's trying to smoke it.
All right.
There's no way. All right, enough fun and games.
All right, back to work, everybody.
This guy's having a blast.
Cop was giggling like he was smoking something.
It was pretty funny and sad.
The cop's camera thing, whatever they call that, caught all of this on video. As you heard, the cop couldn't stop laughing. But it really happened. The raccoon, by the name of Chewy, just for your own records, the raccoon's name is Chewy. There he is, sitting in the driver's seat. He held that meth pipe right up to his yap, and he was going to light that pig and take a big fat rip off that meth pipe. He put it to his lips like he had done it before.
He did look a little too experienced.
Now, believe it or not, one report on this year's story said the cop took the first meth pipe away from Chewy, so Chewy rutted around a little bit in the garbage, found a second pipe, and tried to smoke that one instead.
Man, that addiction hit him fast.
The raccoon knew where its owner, Victoria, kept all of her meth pipes. Did they smoke meth together, Josh?
I hope not.
Did a lady smoke meth with a raccoon?
Did she teach this raccoon?
Did she teach the
raccoon? Or did
raccoon?
I learn it from watching you, Dad?
The police ended up finding 3 pipes, a small amount of crack rocks, and a fistful of methamphetamines in all the garbage inside that motor vehicle. Victoria is obviously getting some drug charges tacked on to whatever the hell she was pulled over for in the first place. I can't remember, driving on a suspended license and an outstanding warrant. Now she's got a pile of drug charges on top of that. Old Chewy, the pet scared the hell out of me. Chewy, the pet raccoon meth addict, he's doing fine. The cops are checking to see if Victoria had the proper permits to legally own a raccoon. And even if she does, if you allow your pet to smoke rock, that pet should probably be taken away from you.
I agree.
Yep.
I think she taught Chewy how to smoke rock worthy.
Yeah, I can't imagine a raccoon just seeing it so much thinking, I want to give that a shot.
That's not right.
If I was a raccoon, I might try meth. Why not?
You know, I mentioned before, I've been to I don't know if they still have it at the fair. This is many, many years ago, but at the state fair, they had the Faces of Meth booth.
The Faces of Meth.
And they had someone who used to be addicted to meth there, kind of just talking about it, what it does to you, saying their regrets, that kind of thing. Try and scare you straight. And some of the differences, it's hard to believe it was the same person. The pre-meth face and then the post-meth face. And some of the ones he described to me were in a very short amount of time, just months.
Yeah.
Oh, really? So the before and after pictures were only months apart.
Yeah, and you guys know I love to go on ride-alongs, and there was a...
You went on a ride-along with a meth addict?
No. Well, he was a cop. I don't know if he did meth on the side. He seemed to be sober.
For a second there, I thought you were in the passenger seat and a meth addict's going around town trying to buy meth.
No, this was like a sober cop.
Okay.
And one of the people he busted for stealing was a woman who looked like she was on meth, right?
Yeah.
And I saw her driver's license photo, and the difference was sad. It was unfortunate.
It destroys your face.
Yeah, it really took a toll on her.
Oh,
but
yeah.
at this Faces of Meth booth, it would be kind of humorous, yet sad at the same time, if I'm looking at all these people. Wow, look what it did to that. And then there's a raccoon section. Oh, that really ruined that raccoon's face.
Yeah.
Terrible.
He had so much promise.
All of his teeth are gone. He's wearing a Kid Rock concert shirt or something.
He's just hating life.
Yeah.
Ashley, you're a former druggie.
Yeah.
Is it uncommon to have several pipes? How many pipes does a person
How many pipes do you need?
Oh, geez. When I smoked weed, I had a lot at one point, but that's because once you turn 18, obviously, you can buy your own, and that was really fun to buy different shapes. Like I had an elephant-shaped bowl for a while. That was pretty cool.
These are your tobacco
Lennies.
Smoking devices?
Yes, my tobacco smoking devices. But I got pulled over, got a paraphernalia ticket, and I had all of my pipes in my vehicle because at the time I lived with my parents, so I couldn't just leave them at my house. So they were in my trunk, whatever, glove box. Never really used those ones, just held on to them. And they took them all and smashed them.
Oh, no.
Which I understand, but it was pretty heartbreaking. All that time and money.
Are they pretty expensive or are they not that bad?
Some of them can be.
Really? I've seen some of those giant bongs where people have hundreds of dollars into that.
Yeah, I always felt weird using something like that. It felt just, I don't know, oddly sexual using such a... Because I feel like the guy that I knew that had a 6-foot bong, it was kind of like his bit to have girls use it. And I think he was...
Sure. You watch their mouth. They're going down. They're holding the tube with one or both hands.
He requests you make eye contact.
Yeah, stuff like that.
Now I'm confusing... I might be confusing your story and my story, Nick, where we both saw some elaborate bongs. Did I see the giant wizard or the alien? I thought you saw one or the other.
No, I didn't see either of those.
Okay, that must have been somebody else. Okay, then it was a wizard. That's how I remember it.
I've never seen one of those big 2-story, type bongs. My pot-smoking buddies just straight up used a one-hitter. A couple of them had the stupid, this one's shaped like a lizard kind of a thing, A couple of them had that set up. But no, I never knew anyone who used all those elaborate bongs.
Yeah, this was at a house party. Some guys I knew, they all lived together. And they went in on this wizard bong, which is, I'm going to say, about 3 feet tall. It was huge. And they all looked ridiculous.
I've told you before, there was this one friend of mine who smoked a lot of grass when we were young, and he had a lizard-shaped smoking device. And he gave it a name. He called it Bernie.
I get it.
And we were all so tired. And this guy thought that was so funny. And every time it was supposed to be funny when he would pull out Bernie the lizard, and he would it's named Bernie. We got so tired of that routine that one night he dropped it and it broke, and we all gave it a round of applause. We went, yay!
Was he heartbroken?
Oh, yeah. He did not understand why we were so excited that his stupid lizard-shaped smoking device, Bernie, he did not understand why we were so excited when it broke all over the floor.
Gosh, I forgot that we used to name them.
We're like, enough with Bernie, all right? Bernie is dead.
Do you remember any of the names, Ashley?
I remember one of the first ones I ever had. It was a hand-me-down for my brother and his friends, and it was called Red Gyarados, or Gyarados, I think is a Pokemon. And it wasn't shaped cool or anything. It was just a normal little pipe, but...
Somebody here says they had a 22-inch bong, $700 before shipping.
Oh, my gosh.
Wow. Yeah, there's a brand. I was very loyal to a certain brand. It's called MN Legit. And those ones were so expensive, but, I mean, they still exist if you go to the smoke shop. They're so intricate and beautiful what these glass blowers come up with.
Just roll a joint.
That's what Nick's always said.
Yeah, just roll a joint.
Whatever happened to rolling a friggin' joint like we did in the 70s? Josh, did you call Ashley a druggie? A former druggie?
Former druggie. I love that word.
That brings me back to beer league hockey. I was playing defense. That was a rule in our league. Once you hit the 1,000-point career mark, you were no longer allowed to play forward because you were obviously dominating too much. So they make you move back to defense, and that was my situation. There was only one other guy in the league who reached 1,000 career points, and they made us move back to So I'm playing defense, and I'm doing the typical gimmick out front of the net while the opposite team is cycling the puck around our zone. I'm out front of the net, kind of protecting that area. And your typical hockey move, there was a player from the opposite club in front of our net, and I gave him just a little chop to the kidneys, a little cross-check to the kidneys to get him away from our goalie. And he turns at me and goes, "Get off me, druggie!" And I looked behind myself, and I had to say, dude, druggie?
Me?
Number one, I haven't heard someone called druggie since I was in 5th grade.
It seems like a 70s thing.
It was so bizarre. I mean, what are you talking about? Do I look like a? Do I act like a? I don't know.
I got to use that on somebody.
Yeah. Get off me, druggie.
Mm-hmm. Fat Moose Jesus has a question here. Cocaine bear versus meth raccoon.
Oh.
Who you got?
Man, matchup of the century.
Can there be a third option?
What's the third?
You got cocaine bear.
Yes.
You got meth raccoon.
That's right.
Third option, I'd like to include drunk uncle. I got my money on drunk uncle. His energy is limitless.
No.
So true.
I'm going to disagree.
You going with?
I'm going to go with the bear. Because drunk uncle, he's going to trip over the raccoon, and the bear's going to eat him in that state. The raccoon dies from the fall. Bear wins again.
Drunk uncle's going to be lighting a cigarette, right? And kind of be distracted for a minute, and then he'll be murdered by the meth raccoon and the... But drunk uncle, I think if there's going to be that type of a match, I think drunk uncle should be included.
I'm with you on that. If nothing else, for the comic relief.
I just don't know if drunk uncle had the stamina for the fight, because drunk uncle eventually is going to hit a wall and become emotional drunk uncle.
It takes a while for drunk uncle to hit that wall, though. He'll go for hours. Of course, eventually he will crash and cry his eyes out.
Yep.
But it's going to be hours before he gets there.
Do you think drunk uncle, if he does win this battle, it was kind of an accident?
Yeah, probably.
He knocked something over.
Right. He stepped on a lamp. The lamp tipped over and set the bear on fire. Something like that. All right. We were of course, we're still talking animals on the show. Oh, here's a listener. Please play some drunk uncle from Saturday Night Live. I don't know the bit.
Bobby Moynihan does a character on Weekend Update where he comes in and he's like the emotional drunk uncle. He's like, the kids these days, they're like, Netflix me. Whatever happened to getting a job? He does that routine.
I hope no one thinks I was ripping that. I've never heard of that bit.
I haven't either. Even if you were, I wouldn't have known, which I know you weren't. Humble Jesus said, here's one we can talk about. He has a bong with a coil in it, surrounded by gel. So you put it in the freezer, making it a smoother hit.
Light a joint.
Yeah.
Roll and light a joint.
I don't even know what...
Like your grandfather did. Have a little respect.
I wonder if either of my grandfathers did. I didn't know my dad's. I mean, he passed away when I was maybe 3 or 4.
Because he smoked too much weed.
Is that why?
Yeah.
I thought it was cancer.
No.
They lied to me all these years?
He took a big hit, and he tried to hold it in for too long, and he ruptured an artery, and he died.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
I've never heard that story.
I've heard that story many times. All right. We were talking animals, and this is a pretty weak reason to end up in court. But it is Switzerland. I don't know much about Switzerland. A 68-year-old woman in Switzerland was in court just a couple days ago. She's been accused of repeatedly feeding her neighbor's cat. You see what I'm saying? So it says here, over a 10-month period, this gal was feeding her neighbor's cat, a cat named Leo. The gal lives in the same building as Leo. And she hasn't just been feeding him. She's been letting him into her apartment. She's even added a cat flap to her door so that Leo can come and go as he pleases.
What? Is she trying to slowly steal this cat?
Leo's owner was not cool with this. and things escalated over these last 10 months. The biggest issue, as you might imagine, was that Leo liked his new digs way more than where he was currently living. He never wanted to go home. And so, yeah, the cat owner was thinking, what are you doing? Stop making my cat's life so much wonderful than I'm able to provide. This is my cat.
Get your own cat, lady.
Under Swiss law, cats are, quote, other people's property, and systematic feeding or giving a home to another person's cat is considered unlawful. The gal who's been treating Leo the cat so nicely is looking at the possibility of being fined up and around $5,000.
Boy, that seems pretty extreme.
Yeah, very interesting.
It's weird.
Cats are considered property. Josh, what is it that you consider community property?
Well, my dog.
Your dog.
My dog is community.
Dong, D-O-N-G, dong.
My dog, not my dog.
Right.
My dog. That's one of my all-time favorite songs. And it's pure genius. Steel Panther.
Ashley, were you unaware of that song?
No, I know that song.
Oh, okay.
You guys taught me about Steel Panther. Jeez. When I started, I'd done a stage announcement for them.
I want to see them next time they come around.
They're fantastic.
That's what I've heard.
And I like to play their music for people that have no idea who they are.
Dude.
So fun.
Seeing the lyrics, when the lyrics finally hit, and they're like, wait, whoa.
You don't give them a heads up or anything?
Nope.
That's awesome.
Years ago, we were going on a fishing trip up north. I think it was me and my buddy Big Al, or it could have been Dane. I don't remember. It was probably Dane because he keeps all these filthy CDs in his car all the time. He loves comedy CDs and filthy this and that, Dice and all that. It must have been Dane and I were in a vehicle with my dad going up north. And we decided to put on a Steel Panther record to see how long it would take my dad to realize that this stuff was straight up filth. And it was a song called, if I remember right, it was a song called You're Effing My Heart in the Ass. And we're driving, and this song is like, you're effing my heart in the ass. And it took a while for my dad to finally look at Dane and I as if to say, what the hell are we listening to? And I had to ask my dad, I said, did a woman ever F your heart right in the ass? Did that ever? He was totally, but anyway.
The band Sex Panther, similar to that kind of, the band Sex Panther, that's a cologne. Ninja Sex Party. They have a song called Heart Boner. I absolutely love that song. It's another love song. See, what happens is he loves her so much, it gives his heart a boner.
A boner.
And he wants to blow his love all over her.
Oh, my Lord, have mercy.
This is the point of the show where we apologize to podcasters who missed all of this great Steel Panther. Also, and I know I say this about almost every band, but that we play, my goodness, Satchel is one of the best guitar players of all time. Their guitar player is so good. I mean, he teaches other guitar players, like famous guitar players. The guy's incredible.
And Ralph is a pimp, too.
Oh, heck yeah.
Oh, Christ. All right, that was just nothing but fun. I hate to do this to you, but we're going to go down a familiar path now. And it's gotten ridiculous now. Again, with this grotesque madness. This will be the second time in a couple of days we've had to discuss this sickening subject. And it absolutely confirms something that Josh brought to our attention a while back. Cubby said it. Whenever some maniac drops a deuce in public, it's a woman. Why?
Yeah, there's certainly been a couple stories about guys. Remember the pooperintendent?
I don't.
They called him, was a jogger, the superintendent of a school district.
I do remember that guy.
And he would take a dump by like the football fields almost daily.
That story was made up.
Do you think it's more? Do you think it's just more newsworthy when it's a female?
So that's my theory.
Yeah.
That guys have to be doing it, but people are like, "Whoa, this is a girl." But it does seem like it's overwhelmingly women lately.
It is. And we'd like an explanation at this point. I mean,
Ashley, speak on behalf of all women.
I've got nothing for you.
We dudes are the big, dumb, farting, burping, smelly animals, right? We dudes take pictures of huge, coiled turds that we left behind and send them to our friends. We'll openly tell stories of terrible bowel explosions that we've had, right? Haven't we dudes had that angle nailed for centuries?
Yeah.
We have.
So then what is happening?
I think you know, why it's so newsworthy is women, you're so much better than that. And then yet some of these, for whatever reason, some of these girls are just letting loose.
Why have women become the repulsive public droppers?
Maybe they're doing this because of, in the name of feminists. Like they're saying, hey, women can do it too.
Oh, like free the boob, but free the poop?
Well, if you need an ultimate representation, if that's the case, Ashley, I recommend the lady from Tim Hortons.
Oh, that lady.
I don't want to talk about the lady from Tim Hortons.
That's messed up.
She is the face of that, and I mean this pun, movement.
Ashley, it could be some type of feminist movement, but if it was, wouldn't you imagine the ladies would stick a flag in it and the flag would say girl power or something like that?
True. You have a good point.
They're not leaving any messages or anything. They're just leaving turds. Today's version of this horrible gimmick. Some family in Australia checked their driveway security camera after finding a cold feces pile on their property, okay? They could tell it was not from a dog. And then when they looked up at the video footage, they saw their neighbor, a lady, dropping a doo-doo pie right on their property. In the video, she was walking her dog past their property. She stopped and cut one on their driveway.
The dog is probably so confused.
Terribly confused. The victims of this horror show, they took an interesting route from there. They put up a sign on their property warning the rest of the neighborhood about what happened, and they issued a threat to the lady who dropped the log. They said they would release the video footage online if she didn't come back to clean it up. The sign said, you have 48 hours to return and properly clean up the mess.
Take a doo-doo pie.
Oh. They said, if you don't come back and clean up your poop, we will have no choice but to circulate photos from the footage to identify you. Please do the right thing.
I like the way they're going about that. That's fun.
Would you leave the poop there for a couple days on your driveway?
Until
the lady comes back?
Yeah, I would wait for her to clean it up. Yeah, I would go to her house, knock on her door, call her on the telephone, whatever, and say, I'm not touching that. Bring your disgusting ass back to my property and clean it up.
Yeah, I'd probably go to her house. Because I wouldn't be able to wait a couple of days. I'd be like, you need to clean this up now.
So now that the story has become a thing on websites and whatnot, there are plenty of social media dorks that want to see the video. One person said they were, quote, getting their popcorn ready.
Yeah, I was actually pretty I mean, I don't like this kind of humor. You guys know that. But I was pretty excited to see the video, and I was kind of let down that it was just the sign.
I'm with you. I wanted to see it as well.
I just watched the Tim Hortons video again. It always hits.
What? I can't watch that.
I can't watch that either.
No.
She saved that up for about 2 weeks.
Oh, she did.
Those poor employees at Tim Hortons.
Such a beautiful place, too.
Why, Josh, in a world of ugly faces?
Do you have to be so hot?
Why was I allowed to be so? We got to take a break. We'll check the sports when we come back.
93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
I could use some poontang myself right now.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
Sports on the 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
We'll certainly try to take justice into our own hands whenever we can. I think it's the nature of physical sport. But by the same token, my God, you should see some of these clips. They're just like, they look like pulling guards and linemen out there just taking shots at Rudy.
Finchie say, in this year Golden State series, Finchie say, if we have to, we'll go ahead and kick somebody's ass. If the Wolves have to, they'll drop the mitts and beat somebody to death.
I love it.
That'd be fun.
Love this kind of energy.
They better have some fight in their game tonight, and hopefully somebody also has a decent jump shot. They're the main event tonight in the NBA playoff. Wolves-Warriors, 7:30 on TNT.
7:30.
Oh, that
nice.
is so sexy.
And, I like that start time as well. Randy Shaver is going to be joining us a little bit later to discuss that friggin' scene. But, Finch kind of campaigning the referees to maybe give them a little hand tonight. That's only normal for a coach to go that route. But I like the idea that maybe there'll just be a massive fight and blood all over the court. Dickhead's out for a week, too.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, but it sucks at the same time because 30 years ago, that would be the whole series. A week in the NBA playoffs these days, that means 2 games.
Yep. Right.
Sucks. Twins are playing well. They got a win last night at home against the Baltimore Orioles. Again, they've won 4 in a row. Buxton tearing it up lately. They'll go again today. They'll wrap up the series, a day game today. Like I said, Randy Shaver will be here in about a half hour. Don't go anywhere. Josh's news report's coming up next.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
Well, if it isn't our wonderful podcast listeners, the ones that all of us on hams love the most. Dana here to give you a little gentle reminder to hit up our friends at Standard Heating and Air Conditioning and tune up that AC before it fully turns into crotch soup season. June through August are Standard's busy season for getting AC units up to snuff, so get ahead of the curve and have them ensure you don't have a summer where you pit out every shirt you own. Book in May during their pre-summer heat savings event, and you'll beat the rush and save yourself some walking around money. Call Standard Heating today or visit standardheating.com. Enjoy the show. We sincerely appreciate you checking us out each and every day.
Nightly Scroll with Haley Caronia.
It is Haley Caronia. I'm excited to be here because there's a lot to scroll through on X, on Instagram, on TikTok, on Truth Social. Love seeing you all in the chat before the show. I tried to jump in just a few minutes before to say hello. I love the chat interaction. Thank you for helping. Love all my homies that I get to scroll with. If you want to listen, Nightly Scroll with Haley is where you can find me. Just search that up and I will be there. We've got to spread the word far and wide.
Nightly Scroll with Haley Caronia. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
Half-Assed Morning Show.
They are in an alternate reality than ours. They are in that rock and roll rock reality.
They surround themselves with these professional dickheads.
And I'm not even really sure if they're aware, you know?
I don't think they're aware of how much they suck.
93X rocks.
As me being a father of 8 kids, I couldn't see me even trying to use none of my kids to actually break into a house or do anything to harm another person because it's wrong.
The Nick Cannon of Michigan there.
My God. He said he's a father of 8 kids?
8, yep.
What are you doing?
A Detroit man's been arrested after breaking into a home, stealing a car, and dragging his 11-year-old daughter into the crime. Police say the 29-year-old targeted a 75-year-old man's home, then drove off in a stolen vehicle with his young daughter in the passenger seat for a little family felony bonding. Prosecutors claim he forced her to help with the daddy-daughter home invasion, abandoning her when his plan fell apart. And things unraveled fast.
He ditched his daughter?
Yeah, he didn't want to get caught, you know. She's on her own. She's 11. She can handle herself. According to dispatch audio, the homeowner's son showed up mid-crime, surprising the suspect, who ditched the stolen car and took off on foot, leaving his daughter behind.
I broke into the home. The homeowner caught him. He left behind a child and a stolen vehicle. He fled the location on foot.
Police caught up with him shortly after and took him into custody. What a douchebag.
Well, that's not right.
A 38-year-old low-level drug dealer stole a 800-pound cannon used in the Spanish-American War. This is stolen from a Kansas park last week.
This guy's a real souvenir nut, huh?
Yeah, he's a fan.
Yeah.
He did so to settle a debt with his deranged boss, threatening to murder him and his family.
What?
38-year-old Gordon Pierce was arrested last Thursday after the 1794 cannon went missing from its podium in a Wichita park. Pierce told investigators he owed his dealer $20,000 after the pound of meth he was supposed to sell was stolen. He said his dealer threatened to shoot him and his family if he didn't show up with the cash, so he stole the cannon. To repay the debt, the distressed drug user planned to sell copper from statues he could steal. Then he set his sights on the massive artifact which had been a fixture there since 1900. That night, high on meth, he recruited a homeless man with the promise of drugs and a pipe.
Oh, man.
Together, they tried to muscle the 800-pound cannon into the back of Pierce's Chevy Tahoe, but it wouldn't budge. Next, they hooked it up to a chain attached to the truck's hitch so Pierce could tow it off. No good. When he started dragging it through the streets, the chain snapped, so he abandoned the cannon there, fled to a friend's house, and got a new chain in order to drag the cannon to the friend's house again and chop it up.
Come on.
His hopes were to bring it to the drug dealer to settle his debt and save his family in the process. But the dealer was irate and called Pierce stupid, told him he was going to bring heat to his house, and yelled at him to get out. Since he didn't have an ID required to sell scrap metal, he had no real plan for pawning the 800-pound historical artifact. Terrified, he went to his mom, confessed, and then fell asleep. Then, when he woke up, the cops were there to arrest him.
Oh, man.
Mom turned him in.
She did, huh?
Yeah.
What did you think? The drug dealer was like, all right, you got one day to either give me 20 grand or an old-timey cannon.
Yeah, he didn't read the room very well there.
And the homeless guy must have been saying, wait a minute, what are we doing?
And where are my drugs that you promised me?
A 47-year-old Michigan woman is being held in jail for stretching out her hole. Police got a call about a suspicious person caught on video inside the Jack Pine restaurant last Thursday, where they found a hole had been cut into the wall from an adjoining apartment. Police arrested the woman, who they say had access to the apartment and cut the hole through the wall the week before. She used a self-made criminal colonoscopy to take the donation jar and various food items from the restaurant. For now, the crafty crooks currently holed up in jail for possession of meth and, breaking and entering with intent to commit larceny. She's also charged as a 4-time habitual offender.
4-timer, Cubby.
Yep, she's going to be in jail for a while. In a bold blend of capitalism and coitus, 2 Connecticut residents decided to combine business with highly questionable pleasure, conducting a prostitution transaction at one of the more ill-advised places for illegal lovemaking, State Police Headquarters. Way to go. Around 12:31 a.m., troopers tried to pull into the parking lot of the station when they saw a sports car blocking the gated entryway. They couldn't get into the cop shop. Since the entrance was blocked, a trooper approached the parked vehicle and discovered the duo in a compromising position, undressed and engaged in, quote, lewd activity. They didn't say if it was hand stuff, mouth stuff, vagina stuff, or butt stuff, but stuff was going on. Disappointingly, however, the precise mixture of hand, mouth, vagina, and butt were not disclosed. As troopers spoke to the driver, they noticed signs of impairment and asked him to perform a field sobriety test, which he failed. As for the passenger, who initially denied any professional affiliations, her purse soon betrayed her. When police spoke to the woman, she didn't admit to any transaction at first, but when troopers saw 3 $10 bills on top of her purse, she admitted to being the very thing Nick's wife hates the most, a whore.
My damn.
Which confirmed the officer's suspicion of a cash for carnal encounter.
What year are we again?
2025.
And $30 will still get it done? I think that's...
Yeah, they didn't say what, though.
But it doesn't matter. That's encouraging.
It is.
Inflation hasn't touched prostitution.
Yeah. What about cake cups? Are cake cups still $5 at the party? I hope so.
It was also revealed the sex worker was in possession of fentanyl und crack.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. And she looked every bit of someone who would be in possession of that.
Yeah, if I was going to dial up a prostitute, I want the one who's not on fentanyl or crack.
Yeah.
But that might be a tall order.
You're going to spend more than $30 for that.
Probably right.
A married Florida couple's drunken date night ended with some felony foreplay. The amorous adventurers, aged 29 and 27, were busted Sunday evening for engaging in what authorities described as lewd conduct, just like our last story. But this happened at Ware's Jube's Bar in downtown St. Petersburg. Police say the husband placed his hand up his wife's dress and touched her private parts, which, according to the witness who fingered the frisky couple, reportedly caused quite the disturbance at the bar.
Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah, I've seen stuff like that.
Yeah, I have too, and it's just off-putting.
It's so gross.
Go home, for Christ's sake.
It kind of can be fun, like for the first 5 seconds, checking it out, making fun of them.
It's funny at first.
And then it gets excessive.
For God's sake.
The husband and wife were each charged with disorderly conduct and possession of an open container of Captain Morgan.
What? Wait, they had an open bottle in the bar?
They had a couple.
What the heck?
They had a couple. In a case of wheels on the bus go wobble, 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 a 36-year-old school bus driver in Cottage Grove is facing criminal charges for driving over thrice the legal limit.
Whoa.
Shortly after 3 p.m., February 26, Cottage Grove police received a report of a possible drunk driver in front of the school. The caller, a school employee, said she was trying to stop the school bus driver from leaving the property because she suspected he was drunk, and she was right to be worried. When police arrived, an officer asked the driver if he'd driven the bus there. He responded that he, quote, has a job, and leave me alone. Surveillance footage painted a more sobering picture, ironically. Video obtained by investigators showed during the drive to the school he crossed the center lane several times And upon arriving at school, he entered the parking lot in a non-bus lane, made a U-turn, went against the flow of traffic, all with plans to pick up kids. Thankfully, the quick-thinking staff member managed to grab the keys before any students got on board. Police described the driver as sluggish, slurring his words, bloodshot, glassy eyes, and unsteady on his feet. He refused a field sobriety test, resisted officers, and even tried to spit at one of them, prompting them to use a spit hood and take him to the local jail. A blood test taken within 2 hours showed a blood alcohol level of 0.289, over 3 times the legal limit. To make matters worse, his record shows he was charged with an OWI in Wisconsin, but that was way, way back last year. The Wisconsin case is still pending, and he'll face a judge in the Cottage Grove case next month.
I love when they bust out that spit shield or whatever it is.
Yeah, the
spit hood. It reminds me of when you put a cone on a dog. Just shameful.
Use a cone.
Here's some statistics for you. You produce enough saliva every day to fill a wine bottle.
Whoa.
And enough over the course of your lifetime to fill 53 bathtubs.
Oh, I don't like that.
Kind of gross, right?
Oh, maybe tomorrow I'll carry an empty wine bottle around with me and test that theory.
Give it a shot.
I'm curious now.
I've seen some movies where some women can crank that out in a couple hours.
I bet a wine bottle's involved in a different way. 2 people walked away with minor injuries after a pickup truck rear-ended a postal worker because the driver was busy waving to an Amish farmer. I'm glad no one was hurt. I would love to see that video.
Hello, how are
Hey, buddy, crash. According to deputies, the driver of the pickup was distracted, glancing out his passenger window to greet a farmer in a nearby Amish community. This happened about 11:30 a.m. Tuesday in western Wisconsin. At the same moment, a postal worker had just finished a mailbox delivery and was pulling back onto the road. The postal worker accelerated and turned right. The pickup driver hit the brakes and swerved left, but not in time. The truck slammed into the rear left corner of the postal vehicle. Both drivers were buckled up, checked out by first responders at the scene, and declined any further medical treatment. They're going to be okay. That crash is still under investigation.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. Can you imagine how embarrassed you'd be, too?
Yeah. But the Amish farmer or whoever he was, I'm sure he appreciated it.
Yeah, very forgiving. And, well, I suppose he wasn't hit, but I'm sure, yeah, you're right.
Thank you for waving.
It was nice of you to acknowledge what I'm doing over here. A dangerous TikTok trend is spreading through schools in Connecticut where
I can't wait to hear about this one.
Students are filming themselves sticking objects like pencils and springs into Chromebook charging ports.
What?
Causing the devices to smoke, melt, and even catch fire.
It's more than just a trend. It causes a lot of disruption.
It became clear that the damage was done intentionally, that it wasn't a malfunctioning Chromebook, but rather a student had intentionally done things to it that caused it to smoke and eventually melt.
The batteries that are essentially catching on fire, once they burn, they're producing this toxic smoke.
One such stunt triggered a fire, leading to a full evacuation of the school.
It became clear that the damage was done intentionally, that it wasn't a malfunctioning Chromebook, but
this wasn't a malfunction. It was deliberate, said the superintendent. The fire didn't just char a Chromebook. Toxic smoke filled the classroom, prompting a response from firefighters. It pulls resources from real emergencies, said the fire marshal. Other schools reported similar stupid scenarios. In one case, smoke poured into hallways and batteries nearly exploded. Fire officials say even small electronics can send shrapnel flying if mishandled. Investigations are underway across the districts, and the superintendent said those responsible will be held accountable.
We used to have those in high school, middle school. I absolutely hated using them.
The Chromebooks?
Yeah, half of them were dead all the time. Nobody ever plugged it in when you were supposed to return them yourself at the end of class, and you're supposed to plug them in, but nobody ever plugged them in.
Bastards.
Sorry, I got a little mad there.
Sounds like you have some repressed memories.
Yeah, it really just ticked me off.
That brought something back for you, Ashley.
Angry 14-year-old Ashley.
According to the Washington State Patrol, 2 drivers were caught using dummies to illegally drive in carpool lanes just days apart. A 52-year-old driver was pulled over Tuesday in the high-occupancy vehicle lane after a trooper noticed the only passenger was a mannequin wearing a brunette wig, a plaid shirt, and a scarf. Driver admitted this was only to be able to use the HOV lane, a trooper wrote. following it up with, the driver also indicated he hasn't named his passenger.
Lame.
Then 2 days later, a 40-year-old driver was stopped when a trooper suspected the backseat passenger was fake, and it was. The passenger turned out to be a dummy doll wearing a bright yellow windbreaker and a baseball cap.
This one had a name, didn't it?
They didn't give it. If it had a name, they didn't share.
For Christ's sake.
Drivers stopped for incorrectly using HOV lanes in Washington face a $186 fine with an extra $200 added if they're using a dummy or mannequin as a passenger. Making its return to Peacock today for its second season debut, Poker Face. Natasha Lyonne returns as Charlie Cale, a human lie detector with an extraordinary ability to determine when someone's lying.
Is that right?
Yes. I love this show. I think it's great.
Oh, I love it, too.
Do you really?
Do you think she could read between the lines there and tell that I've never saw it?
She could. She could tell.
She's good, isn't she?
Yeah, he didn't expect her to be that good.
Yeah, I watch, what is it today, Thursday?
It is.
I watch Last Man Standing.
Yeah.
One of your favorite shows starring one of your favorite actors.
Mm-hmm. Billy Zane.
Billy Zane. She travels the country on the run and solves strange crimes along the way. Now on Netflix, the epic story of Blood of Zeus officially reaches its conclusion this month with the premiere of its third and final season. The Netflix original adult animated fantasy action series brings viewers back to mythical Greece one last time to see the fallout of the previous season's events. Criminal Minds Evolution is back on Paramount+. The third season sees the BAU facing their most complex cases yet as they conduct a network of serial killers exploiting the chaos of the pandemic.
How do they get more complex?
Fact you don't want to know about my marriage, Criminal Minds. Do you want to go watch Criminal Minds? Used to be code for sex.
Nice.
At my house.
Why couldn't you just say, I'd like to fire you into the tall grass right now, unprotected? Why couldn't you just straight up say it? Why'd you need a code word?
I mean, I guess we could, but then have some uncomfortable talks with the children in the house.
The children?
Well, now I know what I'm going to ask you in a couple of weeks when you're having us all over, Josh. It's going to kind of whisper in your ear kind of subtly.
Anybody want to go watch Criminal Minds?
I think I'm going to ask the wife. I don't know.
She'll know exactly what you mean. And on Max, Conan O'Brien Must Go, Season 2. Conan embarks on another globe-trotting adventure, visiting international fans and immersing himself in local cultures with his signature wit. Laura Ingalls Wilder on Little House of the Prairie. Melissa Gilbert, 61.
I still watch that show a couple times a week, Little House on the By-Damn Prairie.
I want to watch the whole series again at some point. Loved that show.
She's just one of the most adorable ladies of all time.
Half Pint?
Mm-hmm.
She is. They're remaking it. I'm hoping they don't destroy it, but they're going to remake Little House on the Prairie.
Oh, they'll destroy it.
That sounds terrible.
Yeah.
How old is Melissa Gilbert?
61.
Lick me down.
Still looking great.
Yeah.
Drummer Alex Van Halen, 72.
How's he looking?
I haven't seen him in a while.
He never really looked good.
Happy 33rd birthday to Can't Decide on a Jesus Named Jesus. Happy birthday to Madison, turning the big 09 from Dad, Wisco Welder Jesus. God's gonna sit this one out, Jesus. Sent a super-duper birthday wish to his beautiful wife, Mandy. Happy birthday to Miles, turning the big 06 today from Mom and Dad, book collector Jesus. Happy birthday to Blaine Brook Jesus from your smoking hot girlfriend Amanda, and that's 93X News.
A live turtle in his pants.
Yes.
That's a lot to pack in your pants.
Randy Shaver on the Half-Assed Morning Show.
I'm hype about you coming back playing here for the first time since 2021. Did you notice the light boos and the response?
That doesn't bother me. But people do have to watch their mouth. It's cool with the boos and all that stuff, but you calling people out of their names and all of that stuff, which I can hear.
What they say?
You want me to repeat it?
Yeah.
No, I'm not going to. That's unnecessary. The boos, I get it. I understand. Let's just keep it together.
Yeah, watch your mouth.
Thanks, little bro.
Who was that, Jimmy Butler?
Yeah.
He's just boring now.
Even Emo Jimmy? Did you like Emo Jimmy?
I love Emo Jimmy. I don't want to talk about He's just boring.
Yes, I did. I loved Emo Jimmy.
He's a weird dude, isn't he?
He is.
He was kind of freaking out. The Warriors didn't have a lot of time between their last series and this one. And he was, sorry, that was, there's a ghost in the studio.
What happened
He was
now?
freaking out because he didn't know how to get his special coffee maker here in time.
Boring.
For the new series.
You see what I mean?
He's obsessed with
Hi, Randy Shaver.
Good morning.
Jimmy Butler's just boring now. He doesn't make me mad. He doesn't make me happy. He doesn't make me feel anything anymore. He's just boring.
It's kind of sad.
Oh, I don't. It's okay, Ashley. He's got $700 million, and he'll go to, he'll burn bridges in San Francisco when this is over, and then he'll go to another team and burn another. He just he doesn't bother me at all, and he's not a factor.
Did you even like him when he was here?
Yeah, sure. I was all right with him when he was here. The Wolves and Warriors are the only game tonight, Randy Shaver.
They are, which means a decent starting time tonight.
Heck yeah.
They're the main event
Actually, too, Nick, on Saturday, they're the only game, I think. I think they're their second game. And again, it's in Golden State, but it's a 7:30 start here, I think.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Which is awesome.
Yeah.
So
we're getting lucky the next couple of games.
Yeah.
7:30 on TNT. They better come out guns blazing.
Well, I mean, we know now that Steph is going to be out this game, likely out the weekend too.
Yeah.
So this is the opportunity here. There are no excuses not to get after this thing and at least even the series tonight for sure.
Stephen Curry to miss at least 1 week with a grade 1 left hamstring strain is how they put it. I was saying this earlier, Randy Shaver, the shame of it all is that these days in the NBA playoff, missing a week means you're only missing 2 games. 35 years ago, this would have been the entire series.
Yeah, true.
An exact timeline for his return will be based on how he responds to rehab, blah, 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 blah.
Well, hopefully he doesn't respond
my
well.
guess is that he'll be back sooner than we think. When he got injured, it's not like he pulled up lame and then hobbled off. He continued to play. You know what I mean? And actually scored a basket.
He'll be back at halftime tonight. Yeah.
Yeah, they just like to say that.
I think he'll be back faster than we think, which is why the Wolves need to be desperate tonight to get at least a split in this series.
Like you're saying, Randy Shaver, right now, and like Smokey said to Craig when he got Craig high in the movie Friday, take advantage, man.
Yeah.
Take advantage.
Don't blow this tonight. Which means Anthony Edwards has got to show up at the very beginning.
A1
he and a few other guys.
Yeah, but it all starts with Edwards.
Yeah.
And I think the way that Finch approached it after the game and the loss and his comments about Edwards and, I got a feeling that that's going to light a fire tonight. So I'm looking for big. I mean, if they can do what OKC did to Denver last night, that'd be the way to do it.
Well, that was just a curb stomping.
That's what I'm saying.
I would love to see a curb stomping.
They scored 87 on Denver in the first half. Now, Denver's defense and Golden State's defense are two different things. But what I'm saying is they came out and they realized how critical it was to split that series before it goes back to Denver. So hopefully the Wolves will feel the same way.
You're right. Oklahoma City Thunder in their victory over the Denver Nuggets last night set a new NBA playoff record for most points scored in the first half, 87 points in the first half. They ended up winning by, 45, 46 or something?
43.
Effing ridiculous like that.
Yeah.
Now, back to Dinkus, who strained his hamstring. A listener texted in to say, feel good about this. If Stephon Curry comes back, he'll just hurt it again. Hamstrings take a while. Anyone ever, Josh, have you ever yanked that hamstring out of play? No.
Oh, yeah, that
hurts. I've gotten some cramps in the hammy that have been pretty painful.
Oh, we're going to talk about cramps here a little bit later, and it's going to be a lot of laughs.
I messed up.
We're going to get there a little bit later. We're going to get into greater detail on cramps. I think it's a really cute story. Yes, Dana.
I messed up my hamstring pretty good in a soccer game once, and it was celebrating a shootout victory.
Sure.
Yeah, semifinals, celebrating the shootout victory. Couldn't play in the next game. It was like 4 hours later. Couldn't play.
Did you gain the nickname Grammatica?
No, I don't know if that had happened yet.
If you're a younger person and don't know, was it Martine or was it Bill or Martine?
I think it was Martine, and he was the kicker for, I want to say, Arizona at the time.
That sounds right. If you don't know, it's maybe the greatest moment in the history of the National Football League.
Bill Gramatica.
Bill Gramatica.
Was it Bill?
Yep.
Okay.
Tore his ACL in a celebratory leap after a first quarter field goal.
Yep.
I think did his field goal make the score 3-0 or 3-3 in the first quarter? And he goes absolutely bananas over making this field goal, and his ACL shot across the field and hit a child in the mouth sitting in the front row. So you hurt your hamstring celebrating a soccer victory.
Yeah, soccer shootout victory. We're all piling on each other, and it was a cold day, and I started sprinting to go join the goalie who just made the save and just pulled up lame.
And you were unavailable for the next game.
Yeah. I tried to go. I could barely walk. It was so painful. And then there was like an 8-hour car ride home because this tournament was in like South Dakota. So you got a bad hammy and you're laid up in the back seat of a Ford Contour. Not ideal.
Man.
Oh, dude, I messed up. I wanted to be exactly sure where your hamstring was before I mentioned this. And I figured it out, so we're good. I did something to it like probably 2-3 months ago. I don't know, just trying to stay active while being pregnant. And it's still bothering me to this day. I don't know if you guys noticed, but every once in a while when I get up to go use the bathroom during our breaks, I hobble a little and I'm like,
I did notice the little hitch in the giddy up, Ashley.
Yeah.
I thought you were drinking again. It's nothing related to that.
No, not yet.
I've always heard that once you tweak a hamstring, it's with you until the day that you die.
It sure feels like that.
That's what I've heard. That is one of the most common reoccurring injuries.
Everyone's had a cramp up, right?
Oh, sure.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
That is so painful.
Sure.
Now,
Scary.
It's not as if the Golden State Warriors have been terrible when Dinkus isn't in the lineup. In the 12 games they played this season without Stephon Curry, they went 7-5.
Yeah.
And as you saw in Game 1, they've got a pretty deep bench.
They've got a very deep bench.
Steve Kerr played, what, 12, 13 guys?
Yep. He played 13 guys.
And, I mean, that's the word is luxury. That's a luxury you have when the opposite club is shooting the basketball like a drunk fraternity team. Let's get some of these bench guys in there because the opposition has absolutely nothing going tonight. But he does have a lot of players at his disposal.
Well, and that's what he did all season long. He played his bench. He played his roster almost every game like that, which builds confidence.
Even in close ball games?
Yes. All season long during the regular season. It was kind of a big story in the first couple of months of the season that Kerr would play regularly 10 to 12 guys per game. And the reason why, keep everybody fresh, but also build confidence in guys that he would need down the road. And that's what you're seeing right now.
Yeah.
I mean, look at the Spencer guy, right?
No, I don't want to.
He doesn't even look like a ball player.
No, he does not.
I mean, come on. He came off the bench the other night and I went, oh, my God, we're going to crush this guy.
Yeah.
And he played well.
Yeah, he was all right. He looks like one of those guys that hangs out at an axe-throwing bar.
But what I'm saying is Kerr has confidence in those guys.
He does.
And they all play a role, and they all know what their role is, and it works.
We got to curb stomp these fools tonight.
Oh, wait, do you want to hate Spencer?
We got to get it done tonight. What's that?
Do you want to hate Spencer even more?
Okay, what, he's in a Blues Traveler tribute band or something?
He also has dabbled in professional lacrosse.
That's not right. That's not right. You pick him up, you dropped him, Jesus, has powered through, Josh, he's powered through a couple of hamstring strains when he's in the sex swing.
That's the last place you want to get
Does he mean
one.
like the actual device or just like the process of having sex?
No, in the sex swing.
An actual...
The device.
Wow.
Yeah, he's got a sex swing. All right, speaking of these coaches now that we got going in this series with the Timberwolves and the Golden State Warriors, we were talking about Steve Kerr. So Finchy say he sent some videos to the league office claiming this is evidence of the Warriors tackling Rudy Gobert, fouling Rudy Gobert over and over and over again. He seems a little bit pissed with the lack of calls from the officials. Now, this is common campaigning from a coach.
Right.
At least I call it common. You try to get the officials swayed your way a little bit. Chris, what's his name? Timmy Kerr?
Finch?
What? The other guy. Steve Kerr. He said he's also sent videos to the league.
I'll send you some videos.
He says, Chris Finch has his complaints. I have mine.
We'll certainly try to take justice into our own hands whenever we can. I think it's the nature of physical sport. But by the same token, my God, you should see some of these clips. They're just like, they look like pulling guards and linemen out there just taking shots at Rudy.
Yeah, and Finch says, yeah, okay, you want to play that game? I'll send some videos too. What are you going to do, Dana? Send me some links?
Yeah, I'll send you some links.
All right.
Send you some links.
And, there were a couple of episodes from Game 1 where Gobert looked like, when you were a tiny little kid and you had that big oaf of an uncle that would come over for the holidays and all the little kids would hang on him.
Yeah.
Yay, the big uncle. And you'd kind of hang one kid from his arm, one from his leg. There were a couple situations where Rudy was being mauled a little bit under the basket, but whatever, it happens.
That happens all the time when they play.
Right.
Obviously it's the level is raised a little bit, the awareness a little bit because it's the playoffs, but that's a common occurrence in the NBA.
Yeah, they're just campaigning a little bit.
That's the only way they really can control him, because there's no doubt that Gobert can control the boards. If you let him just do his thing, you've got to put bodies on him. You've got to get him off the mark. Golden State's not as big inside, so they've got to do things like they have been to keep him from having that 20-rebound game, because he can do that.
So the Timberwolves' three-point shooting over the past two basketball games is the worst in NBA playoff history across a two-game stretch.
That's amazing.
They went 5 of 20, and it's especially amazing when you consider they were
they won one of those games too.
Well, they won the Laker game, of course, but they were the 5th best three-point shooting club in the NBA this season.
Yeah.
They went 5 of 29 in Tuesday's ugly-ass Game 1 with Golden State. They went 7 of 47 in their series-clinching win over the Lakers in the opening round. Did anyone see the video of Anthony Edwards and Julius Randle's reaction to when a reporter dumped those stats on them?
Yes.
It's beautiful.
I did
posted
not.
this, didn't you, Ashley?
Yep.
Edwards' jaw drops to the floor, and the two of them can't help but laugh.
His face was hilarious.
You guys going 12 for 76 over the last two games is the worst three-point shooting in the history of the NBA playoffs. And for a team that was 4th in three-point percentage and 5th, I think, three-pointers made.
He said 12 for 70. God.
But Edwards, his jaw slowly drops and his eyes slowly widen when the reporter says 7 for, what did he say, 65 or whatever in the I can't remember the numbers now, but
it was almost like a cartoon how animated his face was.
Yeah.
And then they kind of looked at each other and like, oh man, I didn't realize it was that bad.
Man, we suck. Randle just starts laughing. He couldn't believe it.
That's all he can do.
All right, the Knicks are up 2-rip on the Celtics.
What in the world, man?
Back-to-back 20-point leads blown at home for Boston.
Is it possible the Knicks could sweep the Celtics?
It's possible.
God,
normally,
that's crazy.
I can't normally stand, nor can I get much pleasure out of a Boston-New York series in any sport. But I got to admit,
this one you can.
I got to admit, that's kind of fun that the Knickerbockers have beaten the Celtics on the road in the first two games of this series. That's kind of fun.
That's crazy.
And we mentioned the blowout in the Western Conference game last night. Oklahoma City just wailed on Denver. So a home club finally won a game.
And you've got Indiana winning both of the games in their series on the road. So there's a chance that the two Eastern Conference semifinal series could be sweeps and could be done way early compared to the Western Conference, which probably will string themselves out to 5, 6, 7 games.
Here's a question from your friendly neighborhood garbage man. He's trying to follow the NBA playoffs, but he has a question. What state is Golden State? Anybody want to help him out?
California, baby.
California. Is that right, Josh?
Golden State, yeah.
They're Golden State.
I thought there was
claim.
a sex joke in there. So
Oh, no,
he legitimately wanted to know.
Oh, my God, Josh.
He's not a big basketball guy.
Everything's a sex joke.
I understand, but around here, more often than not, it is.
Yep.
There was a sex swing joke a couple of minutes ago, so I thought maybe it's the same.
He's not a big basketball. He's never, thrown the ball into the basket.
Has he ever dunked a good one on anyone?
He's never dunked a good. He's curious. Where do these folks come from? What state is Golden? It's California. Paul Pierce, a former Boston Celtic, who I'm a little... he's overexposed. Anyone agree with me?
I totally agree with you.
I've had enough
Yeah, I mean, he and KG in their sit-down podcast, it's entertaining to some degree, but it's a little tiring, too. Yeah.
Every other sports website, did you hear what Paul Pierce said? Did you hear Paul Pierce's point of view on this or that? Well, no, I don't care. Why are we so concerned with what Paul Pierce said? Anyway.
I don't care what any former athlete really has to say. I'm just bored with all of that whole routine.
Oh, really? I like some of them.
I don't really like any of them.
You don't like the TNT guys?
You don't like Barkley?
It's the same stuff.
I'll make sure I pass that on to Mike Madonna next time we want him on the program.
Oh, no.
What the hell's the matter with
Some
you?
are pretty good, man.
I mean, like the talking heads on TV and ESPN, and it's always the back in our day, like these guys are soft. It just kind of gets old after a while.
Well, in a lot of cases, they are right about how the new guys are soft. But just last week, we had Mike Madonna on the show, and now Dana's saying, I don't care what any of these guys have to say. The guy was nice, and Mike Madonna, he's got 11 kids. He's nice enough to take the time to be on our radio show. He's probably listening right now. He's thinking, well, God, that was wasted time. Mike, some of us around here appreciate that kind of thing. Some of us do.
I guess I'm ungrateful.
Yeah, some of them are fantastic. I'm surprised there's none you like.
I guess none is that was too broad of a generalization, but for the most part, I just, Chad Ochocinco and was Shannon Sharp, all these guys, it's just, I don't care what they had to say.
Oh, I still like Chad Ochocinco. He cracks me up.
Paul Pierce, he went on, now this is significant though and kind of funny, although he'll probably punk out. He went on a television show yesterday and guaranteed Boston would win Game 2 of that series with the Knicks. He guaranteed that there's no way Boston's going to drop the first 2 games at home. They will win tonight. He said this yesterday. He was so confident about the win, he said he would walk to the TV studios in his robe next time around. It's a 15-mile walk.
If the Celtics lose Game 2 at home, I promise you, Joe, I'm walking here tomorrow. I'm walking here 15 miles.
I don't know, Pete. This is your friend.
In my robe.
Get your friends.
No shoes on.
Somebody's saving.
Bare feet.
No.
So
You just kept going.
No,
Why?
the question is, will he do it? He's been on social media since Boston lost that game last night. He shared a post on Twitter showing a map of the walk if he chooses to go through with it. It's 20.2 miles, and it's projected to take him 8 hours and 2 minutes to get there on foot.
Yeah, let's do it too
my
much.
God.
And as you heard, he said he'd walk there in his robe, no shoes, bare feet. So who thinks he'll actually pay this off?
There's no way.
I don't think so.
I wonder if
8 hours?
They
Barefoot?
They show him walking for a minute or two, like in one section, then drive him to another. I wonder if they'll do something like that.
Probably. Yeah.
Maybe they'll just do a TV trick with it.
Yeah, that's my thought.
Maybe it was all the TV trick from the get-go. Another listener wants to know, okay, we've established that California is the golden state. Which state in our union invented the golden shower?
Yeah, see, that's where I thought they were going with.
Understandable.
Well, it's Wisconsin. Because for many years they didn't have running water, and that's how they bathe each other.
Oh,
Yeah.
my God.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah.
I remember learning that
Well,
when
you
I
lived there for a while, yeah.
Yep. There's a whole museum on it.
Golden Shower Museum.
Yeah.
That's why back in the day, the families were so large. Otherwise, you'd run out of ways to wash yourself. It's like, all right, next one in, got to finish the shower, that kind of thing.
Yeah, and at the Golden Shower Museum in Wisconsin, don't they... I'm hoping I can get this joke correct. Doesn't R. Kelly greet people at the door?
Not anymore.
It's an
he dead or
interactive
something?
experience.
Did he die?
Isn't he in prison?
Yeah, he's locked up for a while.
I have no idea. I just knew that there was something there, Randy Shaver, and I went for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's in prison for some
There's no doubt.
He's where he should be.
Yeah, some pretty bad
He went to prison. So speaking of long walks, like this Paul Pierce deal, it's funny because last night we were talking DWIs at the bar. Who's had one? Who hasn't? Any entertaining stories? A guy that I see at my neighborhood bar quite often. He got a Dewey in Maple Grove, I believe, and he had to go to jail in Minneapolis for it. And he walked home. I shouldn't say home. He walked back to Maple Grove from the jail in Minneapolis when he was released. That's a poke.
That is.
How?
Yeah.
I was going to say, what route do you take?
Yeah.
Good question. It was a long time ago.
Yeah.
But another friend of mine who was at the bar last night saw him that day. Okay?
They did pick him up.
He did.
Oh, all right.
He pulls over. He's like, is that Donnie walking down the friggin' road? I mean, like walking down an interstate, right? Pulls over. He's like, Donnie, what the hell are you doing? And Donnie says, I'm just walking.
I just Googled it. You said Minneapolis to Maple Grove?
Yeah.
4 hours and 55 minutes.
Yeah. So he says, where are you walking? What? You're walking down the interstate. And he says, I got pinched for a D-dub last night. I went to jail in Minneapolis. I'm walking back to Maple Grove. And my pal says, walking back to Maple, just get in my car. I'll give you a ride.
What?
And the dude said, why did you choose to walk? Why didn't you call me when you were in Minneapolis? And he said, I needed time to think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'll do it to you.
Walk of shame.
Yeah.
I just looked it up. I've only got a 2 hour and 41 minute walk to work. That's not bad.
Even where you're at?
Yeah, that's really surprising. Are you taking a nap?
I don't think, what's his name? I don't think that's an 8-hour walk for 20 miles. You probably can walk a mile in about 20 minutes.
Well, maybe because it's Los Angeles. It's Los Angeles. If that has any, it's something I don't know.
Yeah, it probably has to do with the weird route he takes because it usually takes me like an hour and a half to do 4 miles.
Yeah.
Randy, can you help out with more of these geography questions about where
I
is
can
this?
try.
Would you help? Snow blowing off my car on the road. Jesus wants to know.
Jesus God.
So good.
Can you help her out? Which state? Where is Ball State?
Well, down south.
I think that's in Indiana.
Yeah, it's not as far south as you thought.
Yeah.
It's Indiana. Yeah, Ball State.
Each year it tends to go further south, I've noticed.
It moves?
Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
It does.
As time goes on,
sags a little bit lower every year.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
She wants to know, Randy.
And there's no coming back either.
And you know what I've noticed kind of throughout my life? Most of the time, Ball State is ignored. People don't.
Well, that sounds like a personal problem.
Maybe open up to some communication on that one.
Oh, in what way?
You're right, Josh. If you meet someone who can't wait to go to Ball State, that's a keeper.
Yeah. Make that person your spouse.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, my God. Oh, man.
We were doing the buck truck again at the house last night.
Oh,
Josh.
were you?
Yeah, we
Cute.
were doing the buck truck again last night.
You guys should get on TikTok.
Oh, I'm all.
Is there a T-shirt out there with buck truck?
Oh, I'm sure.
Oh, Soda Stick must
Definitely.
have.
There's gotta be. My God, they make a. It's unbelievable how they pump out T-shirts for just the littlest slogan, that.
Yeah. Let this man stay healthy.
Yeah.
He is having an awesome start right now with 9 home runs, 3 RBI last night. He's batting .274. He's off to one of his best starts I think he's ever had. Just stay healthy because, man, he's doing it.
You ever been to Cooterville? Byron Buxton got the dong out for a 3rd straight game.
Yeah.
And all of those statistics you mentioned, Randy Shaver, are wonderful. Twins win 5-2 over the Baltimore Orioles. They've now won 4 in a row.
There are several Buck Truck T-shirts available.
Oh, I'm sure.
Okay, good. Charlie Morton for Baltimore has had a very rough start to the season.
Well, he's 53 years old or something.
He is.
Yeah.
It's amazing that because I know he was sent down to AAA and then they brought him back up because of all the injuries, but he has just gotten pounded this year.
Yeah.
He's 0-7. I don't know if any other pitcher has lost 7 games to this point of the season.
They're probably going to shut down that experiment, aren't they?
I think so. Yeah, it's not working.
Nick, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Ray.
Yeah.
No, go ahead.
Vacation Jesus had a question. Where's Brownton?
Brownton?
Yeah. Or Browntown, I guess.
I'll tell you what. You know quite a ways in advance before you get there.
And you know what?
You don't need a sign.
No, you know when you're getting close.
In my house, that is not a well-traveled area.
Is that right?
Yeah.
I don't know why the hell you and the wife don't go to Brownton.
No, we're not gonna do that.
It's nothing worse than when you're trying to go to Cooterville, but you miss your exit and you end up in Brownton.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whoops, wrong exit.
It's a surprise for everybody involved. What are you doing here? What are you doing there? Nobody invited you to Brownton. I invited you to Cooterville, for Christ's sake.
The entrance and exit to Brownton are in the exact same place.
Yeah. There's just a small little stretch of road between them.
Dear Lord, you guys.
Jesus Christ.
What are you upset about?
You guys all of a sudden hate geography.
Yeah. We're trying to give you guys directions.
Why are you mean mugging us, Ashley?
It's just, what is happening?
This is just what we do. It's what we do.
Oh, my God.
What happened? How about Twins middle relief guy Danny Coulomb? Got the win last night. He's pitched 14 innings in relief this season without allowing a run.
Yeah, it's awesome.
The two clubs are going to play a day game today to close out the series. Baltimore starting a guy. Bad news for you, Ashley. This will start a whole new run of jokes. Baltimore starting a guy by the name of Dan Creamer. Oh, God.
Oh, my gosh. That's so unfortunate.
Terrible.
Oh, poor guy.
I think it's Kremer, but that's...
Oh.
But you know his buddies call him Creamer.
Oh,
100%. Oh, I hate that word.
Check that baseball for sticky substances coming. Bailey Ober is going to go ahead and start for the Twins in place of Joe Ryan, who's been scratched because he's come down with the flu.
Oh, no.
Yeah, that's what they say here. Joe Ryan's come down with the flu skis.
Okay.
Another geography question. A listener says, I've heard of Oral Roberts University. Is there a...
If there's not, there should be.
Yeah, there should be. On this date in 1984, I'm going to get emotional over this. Kirby Bucket
called him up.
Made his major league debut on this date in 1900. Now, was that a home game or a road game?
I don't recall.
I'm convinced
I want to say it's a road game.
Okay. I know I was at Kirby Puckett's very first home game at the old Metrodome.
That's really sweet.
I know this.
Yeah.
In his big league debut, Turkey Bucket, 4 hits.
He was amazing.
I remember it very well. It was around this time of year. So, yeah, this makes total sense.
Yeah.
1984, I was a 6th grader. And it just so happened that we were taking a field trip to the old Metrodome to watch a Twins day game. We did it every year in grade school. We'd all get on a bus and go. And I remember my 6th grade teacher, Mr. Ferens, as we're all just antsy as hell, we couldn't wait to get on the bus and go down to the, well, at the time was the new Metrodome, to go see the Twins play a day game. And, of course, we would just raise hell. We barely watched the game. But Mr. Ferens said, guess who's starting in center field today for the Minnesota Twins? And we all said, I don't know, Jim Eisenreich. Who was the guy who was in the Oakland A's movie? Billy Bean? I don't know. Yeah. Is Billy Bean starting in center field? And the teacher, Mr. Ferens, with a laugh, said, nope, you're going to love it. This kid's name is Kirby Puckett. And we all started laughing because it's kind of a silly name, and we were 6th grade kids. Yeah. Very first home game for Turkey Bucket, I was there.
Yeah, his MLB debut was in against the I guess, what were they, the Angels at the time?
California.
California Angels, yeah.
Golden State.
That's how this all got started.
Let's start it over.
You got to love it when a ball club gets verbally attacked via someone's obituary.
That stuff is fun.
It is fun.
A dead White Sox fan took a shot at him on his way out, Randy Shaver.
A shot at the White Sox?
Yeah. Old John McDonald of a town called Glen Lynn, Illinois. He no longer has to worry about the effing White Sox. He checked out at 77 years old the other day. In his obituary in the local paper, he jokingly blamed the White Sox for his death. He said he couldn't face another White Sox season after last year's debacle.
Yeah.
And he also made sure to go after the Sox' mortal enemy on the north side of Chicago. He said he enjoyed playing golf, watching TV, and Chicago sports, except for the Cubs. I hate the Cubs. And he also mentioned he enjoyed, we'd have to ask a member of his family or someone about this if we ever get the chance, which we very likely will not. He enjoyed re-sleeping.
Is that when you go back to bed?
I think that must be.
That is a good feeling.
I think that might be
That
when
is a good feeling.
you get out of bed in the morning, you wander over to the couch, and you go back to sleep.
I can't do that.
I do that move.
That must be what re-sleeping is, but that's just a guess.
That's the best. The only thing that's better than that is when you are sleeping and the person that you sleep in the bed with is getting ready for work.
You don't have to go anywhere?
Yep, and you're just laying there. Oh, bye. Yeah, I'll miss you.
Remember when you were a kid, whether it be summer or maybe a day off of school, and you could lie on the couch and watch your parents leave for work?
Yeah.
Oh, get out of here, you bastards.
I
don't
love
come
to
back.
have that feeling again.
Do us a favor and don't come back.
My wife gets that feeling every day in the summer.
Yeah, she's laughing at you.
Yeah, watching you leave at 3 o'clock in the morning.
All right. And she'd be like, all right, I'll go back to bed till 10.
I can remember the best feeling ever was the summer of my, between my freshman and sophomore year of college, I worked construction.
Mm-hmm.
And when it rained, obviously we didn't work. God, there was nothing better than to wake up and hear it pouring rain and knowing I didn't have to go to work.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that was just, you'd get that call. Yeah, we're not out there today. It's like, oh, thank God.
That feels good.
And then you'd sleep till like 10:30, 11. I can't do that anymore. I wish I could.
Right.
Yeah, me neither.
I can still sleep until someone wakes me.
Can you really?
Actually,
I wish I could do that.
Right, aren't you?
No, I used to be, but not the last couple of years. It's changed. I am up by, no later than 7 a.m. every morning.
Same here, Ashley.
It's miserable, and I feel
It is miserable.
I feel sorry for each and every one of you. I can sleep until someone wakes me.
Unless I pound some Benadryl, then I can get the job done.
A little sip of Benny.
I'm the best in the business. I promised you we'd talk about cramps a little more on the show. And this is cute. Arizona Diamondbacks starting pitcher Merrill Kelly. Sounds like a friend of your grandpa's, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Merrill. Where are you playing cards tonight, Grandpa?
Yeah, he hangs out at a supper club somewhere.
Yeah. We're going over to the Kelly house. Merrill's going to be there and his wife, Catherine. Arizona Diamondbacks starting pitcher Merrill Kelly has been bothered by leg cramps during a couple of games this season. His legs lock up. It's very painful. It's hilarious for everyone else involved, of course. I've always found that watching someone else react to a leg cramp is some of the best free comedy that a guy can enjoy. But this Merrill Kelly's been having problems. So he's just a cramping machine. Diamondback fans, helpful bastards that they are, have been mailing the team pickles.
This story, it encouraged me to drink pickle juice last night.
Oh, no.
I like drinking pickle juice.
I do too.
I forgot that I do. If I'm dehydrated, I have no idea if it really works.
God.
I'll drink it.
I did it when I was 8.
That is so hard to believe that works because of the amount of salt.
So you had cramps in your legs last night?
No, this story reminded me of it, like it helps with dehydration or something. I have no idea if it's true, but why not?
How much pickle juice did you drink last night?
7 or 8 gallons.
Anybody ever had pickle flavored vodka?
Yeah.
No, I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah. Then you chase it with a pickle.
Yeah, I don't know what I would do with all the diarrhea, though.
Where it's really at, Dana, is a shot of Jameson with a pickleback.
Oh, wow. I've never done that.
That is delicious. I miss
So what did you have, like a glass full of pickle juice?
Well, I took the last pickle and just kind of drank right from the jar.
God.
I can't imagine
Your
a grown...
sodium levels are just through the roof.
Is that really gross?
Josh, next time call me over. We'll do 2 straws.
I don't think it's gross.
Just as a grown man, I could see that absolutely wreaking total havoc on my digestive system.
It's supposed to help with acid reflux as well.
But I don't have that problem. When I was a kid, I enjoyed drinking a little bit of pickle juice. Anyway, if you don't know, pickles supposedly help with cramps. So fans have been sending bottles of pickles to the Arizona Diamondbacks clubhouse, and their manager, Troy Lovellolo, says, I've had some of them, and they're pretty good.
I love them. Some of my favorite food. Do you mind talking geography again?
I would love to. We've been learning things. We've been enjoying all kinds of geography talk. Where do you want to take us this time?
Well, it's a bit of a personal question on how you like to road trip, if you don't mind.
Road tripping.
Now, for this, I'm a little scared to say the names of the towns again, but is there an order you always go in, or maybe there's an order that would surprise me on where you go on these trips?
Okay.
You understand why I'm afraid to say the names again?
Not at all.
Oh, I didn't know if that'd be too graphic. All right, there's Brownton.
Oh, back to the towns we were already discussing.
Yes.
Brownton. There was Cooterville.
Yep.
And
then Oral Roberts University.
Visiting Oral Roberts University. Yeah. You're asking me what order I would visit those different locations.
Yeah, and if it's always the same or...
There's only one correct order.
Well, some people disagree with that.
Give us the correct order, Ashley.
Oral Roberts.
That's where you go first.
And then Cooterville.
Yeah.
And then what was it? Brownton?
Brownton.
Yes. Never Brownton first.
Oh, I go in the absolute reverse order.
Oh my God. Yeah. Your poor passenger is going to have a lot of issues after that.
Well, I think if you go Brownton, Oral, and then Cooter, that might be some issues. But I don't have a map in front of me.
Another listener.
I'd imagine if you try and go from Brownton to Oral, there'll be a lot of stop signs in between, right?
Oh my God.
For some people.
Some people pass right by those.
Others are well traveled.
It's more of a flashing yellow light or green light?
Green. For some people.
Well, right. I'm not judging. I was just curious if you had an order.
Here's a listener's question for you, Josh.
All right.
Have you ever pitched a tent in Keister, Minnesota?
No. And no offense to Keister. It's just, I know Keister is for a lot of people. It's just not someplace I'd like to travel.
I think the town slogan is Keister is for lovers. The Toronto Maple Leafs are up 2-0 in their best-of-7 series with the defending champion Florida Panthers. Toronto won by a goal again last night. Dallas also won by a goal, beating Winnipeg in their Game 1. Hurricane Capital Game 2 tonight, along with Oiler Golden Knight. I'm going to save this conversation for tomorrow when Brad Ryder is on the show, because it sounds like something Brad would want to be involved in. Let's close out with this. Here's the latest on that old puke bag Bill Belichick. You're a fan, aren't you, Randy? You love the guy.
I think he was a hell of a coach, but he's strange, man.
Is he nuts?
Yeah, he's out there.
I'm the only one that bought his book yesterday?
Nobody bought his book yesterday. You know what, Randy Shaver? A friend or two of Bill Belichick's are worried about him also. And this is where I'm going with this. Folks who know a thing or two say that Bill has been, quote, hypnotized by his little cupcake girlfriend by the name of Jordan Hudson, who is 48 years younger than he is, again, just for the record. And these folks say that Jordan Hudson, quote, thinks she knows everything, like most 24-year-olds. I'm sure she's a huge pain in the ass. You can tell that by looking at her.
Yeah,
and now
definitely.
that she's the head caretaker for this elderly billionaire, I'm sure she has some very definite ideas as to how important she is to the world. So she's supposedly the CEO of Belichick Incorporated, whatever that means. Folks have really been talking about this, the oddity of it all, even more so than when they originally started dating. Folks have really started talking about how odd this is and how odd Bill has become since they made an appearance on something called the CBS Sunday Morning News or something.
Right, correct.
Okay. It says here she not only dressed Belichick for the interview.
Oh, my gosh. This is going to be really weird. Weird vibes.
I was dressed by a girlfriend once, and it did not go well.
No, it did not.
We've talked about this many times before. Yeah, it didn't go well.
Went terribly for you. She dressed him for the interview, but she also interjected during the interview to shut down certain lines of questioning that she didn't approve of.
Well, it was about their personal relationship.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, but it wasn't like that intimate of a question. It was just, how did you guys meet?
How did you meet? Yeah, she didn't.
We're not talking about this.
Oh, she didn't want to.
Yeah, she didn't want him to answer.
Let's pretend like everything's normal here.
Mm-hmm.
Let's pretend like I'm not 24 and he's 77. Let's pretend like that.
And like that doesn't make people want to know more. Like, all right, girl, so how did you meet then, huh?
Exactly.
You shady little thing.
People are naturally curious about that kind of thing. So they say she was impossible to work with on the set of this television show, and she caused multiple delays. One of Bill Belichick's friends, Charles Barkley, said recently when he was interviewed by somebody that he plans on reaching out to Bill because he's, quote, concerned.
It was kind of concerning watching that.
Oh, I didn't see it.
He looked like a bit of a robot under her control.
It was just, it really freaked me out, especially when they were asking him about, like, the beach pictures that they took together where he's, like, holding her up with his legs like you do a little kid.
Oh, what do you mean, like sitting on his knee?
So he's on his back, and he's, like, doing airplane with her.
That is friggin' weird.
Yeah, and he's like, I don't really go on social media. We just kind of, was something that happened, basically. It was so weird.
Is she feeding him full of pills or something?
Honestly, it's
odd.
Yeah, it's kind of freaking me out.
That was a friend of mine, too. I'd check in and, hey, is everything okay? You know?
Yeah.
And the
Mark
more
twice if you're in Milwaukee.
Also, if I was the North Carolina people, I'd be a little bit concerned about what's going on with my coach and everything that I've done in investing in this guy to turn my football program around. And he's out running around with a 24-year-old woman who seems to be running a lot of what he's doing.
They're handing him a lot of money, aren't they, at North Carolina?
Well, and a lot of power and everything else. Yeah, it's...
Blink twice if you're in trouble.
The more I hear about this, the crazier she looks, too. I didn't really think that in the beginning, but now you can see it in her eyes.
This is exciting. This is fun now for me. I mean, of course, I'm like everyone else on planet Earth. When they started dating, I thought, okay, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
But now that there's the possibility that she's hypnotized him, I'm in. I want to hear more about this.
I get it.
Take your pills, honey. I've had enough pills. All you ever do is make me lie in this bed and eat pills. Take your pills. Glug, glug. He's pouring them down his throat. Okay.
With Ovaltine, he's getting the pills down.
Yeah, she grinds it up and puts in his oatmeal. Is that what Ovaltine is?
That's a drink.
Oh, it's a drink. All right, Randy, what was your favorite anal sex joke this morning? Did you have a favorite anal sex reference? You want to just email it to me?
No.
All right.
Here's an option.
I'm going to stay away from that.
Okay. All right.
Better machinist than Pat Jesus wants to know. Have you ever noticed how long it takes to get to Climax, Minnesota? He thinks it takes forever.
It can. It can be a
challenge.
A journey. All right, tomorrow's Friday. We can cut loose and do whatever the hell we want, Randy. We don't have to follow the script like we did today.
No, we'll have a lot to talk about tomorrow.
We're not going to follow a script tomorrow. How's that sound, everybody?
That's fine. Sounds great.
We're just going to wing it. Everything will be right off the top of our heads.
That's awesome.
It's no script Friday tomorrow on the show. Thanks, Randy. You and Brad, we'll talk to you tomorrow.
Sounds good.
All right, we'll be back in a few minutes here on the Half-Assed Morning Show.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
Well, if it isn't our wonderful podcast listener, the ones that all of us on hams love the most. Dana here to give you a little gentle reminder to hit up our friends at Standard Heating and Air Conditioning and tune up that AC before it fully turns into crotch soup season. June through August are Standard's busy season for getting AC units up to snuff, so get ahead of the curve and have them ensure you don't have a summer where you pit out every shirt you own. Book in May during their pre-summer heat savings event, and you'll beat the rush and save yourself some walking around money. Call Standard Heating today or visit standardheating.com. Enjoy the show. We sincerely appreciate you checking us out each and every day.
Actor Michael Rosenbaum, he knows some of the most talented people in the business.
Will Wheaton is here. I'm getting ready to do this podcast. I text my Star Trek family. That is a supernatural impulse.
If you're here for Jay Moore, you found the right place.
Have you always had a large personality?
The nicest way anybody's ever put it.
You always warn people out.
From Twilight, Ashley Green.
We were just like, no one's going to see this. This is not going to be a good movie.
I really love the movies.
Don't feel bad.
The Inside of You podcast. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
In the 60s, I made love to many, many women, often outdoors, in the mud and the rain. And it's possible a man slipped in. Would be no way of knowing.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
93X. Oh, yeah, you've been a great crowd. You certainly have. Been a great crowd. We appreciate it very much. It is 8:33 on the 93X Half-Assed Morning Show. Hopefully this doesn't rub anybody the wrong way, but we'd like to revisit a prior conversation. Something we were jaw-jacking about a couple hours ago. Being used. When someone fakes a friendship or even sometimes a full-on romantic relationship just because it can gain them something. You're using someone because they have this or they have that, and you want it. Maybe some of you have used someone in that fashion in order to gain something. It's a cold-blooded operation, Cubby.
I typically date losers. It's about the highest bar I can achieve. And so while we were, in between the first time we talked about it now, I was trying to think if there's somebody I could have taken advantage of what they bring to the table. And the only thing I can think of is I did date a girl whose parents were very, very wealthy. I mean, they didn't flaunt it so much, but they did have a lot of money. So I could have married into maybe we didn't have to pay for a house or a car or something like that. Maybe they would have taken care of us. And I know we talked before, your first wife was very, very wealthy. But
she had a few bucks laying around.
Anybody else that maybe they could have provided something?
Yeah, I mean, again, growing up in Wayzata, I had some rich buddies, but never once did I consider hanging out with them more than the others because of their money. Yeah. Never once did it enter my mind. I mentioned earlier, I'm very naive to this line of thought. I would never, ever think to use someone because it could gain something, and I would also be very easy to use if, let's say, I had piles of cash and people were hanging around me. I would be naive to thinking, hey, wait a minute, are you guys here really because you like me or because of my money? This is just something that's never been part of my daily operation. So I'm very naive to all of it. But sure, there were a couple of extremely wealthy pals of mine when we were kids, even into our 20s, where, sure, I could have probably, masqueraded as their biggest fan and went on a few plane rides or went on a few boat rides or something. But it's just something that's never been part of my overall operation.
A quick PSA, Juggernaut Jesus has texted in, and this goes out to the traffic, 494 South between Highway 7 and Crosstown. Juggernaut Jesus, he's having a bit of a code brown, so if you could move over to the right lane, he's going to need to go past you in that left lane to make it to a bathroom.
Get out the way, he says. Thanks for giving us a heads up so we could announce that to folks on the road. We discussed this earlier. Josh said he's had past friends use him for concert tickets. Ashley said a guy or two used her just because they wanted to get some. And she also admitted to using a guy for a weekend just because he had a cool cabin up north that she wanted to experience for herself.
Yeah, they texted in, too.
That was amazing.
That guy, hey, I think this was me. I think this was my cabin.
Seriously?
Yeah.
What did they say?
They were cool about it. I said, yeah, nice cabin,
Oh, so it really was the person?
Yeah. Well, I guess I didn't fact check. I don't have the guy's phone number anymore.
They texted your cell phone or the what do we call this place here? Or the radio station.
The radio station.
They did.
Yeah. Wished me and my fiance well. So I think it was sincere.
Well, what do they care?
Your non-cabin owning fiance? Is that who we're talking about?
He's got a cabin in the family.
Does he really?
Yep.
Why would
His parents are in the process of building one too.
Whoa.
Yeah.
This guy that you used back in the day, why would he care what you're up to anymore? He's rich.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's so true.
Here's more on the topic from our wondrous listening audience on the subject of being used or using somebody. Here's a listener who was used for prom.
Oh.
Yeah, I bet that's pretty common.
I've known a couple people that they've gone through that.
What does that mean? Like you're somebody older that you get to go to prom? Or?
No, you act like you're really into this person so that you can secure a prom date.
Right.
You don't have one, and then once prom is over,
Yes.
you dump them.
You just want to experience prom. This is a listener 2 years in a row. The same gal used him for prom so she could experience prom and party and have the whole schmear. And he said both years, about a month after prom was over, she was, quote, not feeling it anymore.
You fell for it a second time?
That sucks.
Oh, I want to give you a hug.
Do you guys know anyone who got ditched at prom?
No.
By their date is what I mean, by their date.
Trying to remember. It's been so long.
I know a guy, and it was Wang.
Oh, no, not Wang.
Did he care?
Oh, yes, he cared.
He did.
Dude, that sucks.
He still cares.
I bet.
He got, and she was good looking too. When she went to prom with Wang, and then a half hour into the dinner, she took off. He never saw her again. Wang got used for prom. Come on, everybody.
Wang got used for prom.
Thank you.
Next time I see him, I'm going to bring it up.
You know, we were getting texts saying either they used someone for their pool or they had a pool and they were used for that.
Oh.
I get nervous. One of my friends has a pool, and she invites me over, and I get nervous that I don't want her to think that's why I go over there. Every time she invites me, like I feel like I have to turn her down sometimes so she doesn't think that I'm just using her for her pool or something.
I hear you.
I got a buddy who does the opposite of using me. You said, Josh, earlier you had a buddy who you hadn't talked to in a decade who hit you up for concert tickets, right?
Yep.
So I have a buddy who I met through a radio station I worked at. We liked all the same things. We became pals. And there'd be times where I'd say, hey, man, the show's coming up. I know you like this band. I can get you tickets. He goes, no, I can buy them. I don't want you to ever think I'm friends with you because I want your concert tickets or any of your perks or anything like that. I just think that's a cool gesture on his part.
Yeah, I agree.
As a freshman in high school, one of our listeners says, I dated a girl that was 18 just so I could get tobacco.
Somebody said when they were 20, they dated a girl who was 22 so she could buy beer. Porcelain Punisher Jesus said, hey, if anyone out there wants to use me for some bumping, please get in contact with me. Josh, feel free to share my number. Yeah, no problem.
Just for bumping?
Yeah, if you want to use him for sex, he's okay with it.
During the break, I texted my fiance and asked him if he was ever used for anything that he can remember. I could see that happening. He's a nice guy, and he said, "Ashley, I have a truck." I was like, yeah, probably used for your truck quite a bit
moving?
in friendships.
To help someone move.
Yeah.
Or something.
In college, yeah, that makes sense too. We were talking about booze. When I was like 19, I got a lights out, just perfect fake ID that worked every single time. Yeah, I think a lot of people were using me for booze around that time, freshman, sophomore year of college.
Now, one of our listeners has texted in on the topic of using someone or being used. He says, does it count if you were used as an emotional crutch between partners for someone?
Oh.
That counts.
Yeah.
That counts.
Yes, it does.
Yeah. Relationship was over. Well, I got to try to put this together. Relationship was over a year. Okay. This gal, as soon as she broke up with her boyfriend, she would go to him as her emotional crutch. And then when she found someone new, she left him in the dust. That's maybe the coldest of them all, wouldn't you say, Josh?
Yeah, that's brutal.
She ghosted him. And then he found out later that she got pregnant. Had an ex-girlfriend, a listener says, used me for my good credit score to get an apartment. We moved in together. 2 weeks later, she dumped me.
Oh. Congrats on the good credit score.
Here's a listener who says there's quite a few people who date tattoo artists to get free tattoos. Okay.
Oh, really?
I don't know.
That'd be pretty sick. I always thought about how cool that would be to date a tattoo artist. Never did it, but
Those aren't cheap.
Spent almost 2 years of my life being used. Spent almost 2 years of my life being used, says a dude here who listens to our radio program. She had a place to stay, good food to eat, and all the pot she could smoke. And she was hanging out with other guys the whole time while I was at work.
That sucks.
Box handler Jesus said he just ended a relationship yesterday, being on the receiving end of being used. 5 months, not once did she offer to pay. She would just point or slide the bill to him. He said, I'm a gentleman, but at least offer to pay. That would be nice.
Yeah, once you kind of get into a relationship, it's time to kind of go every other.
I bring that up to my daughter all the time. Like, you're not even going to fake it. You're not going to reach for your purse or nothing. And she never will.
Nah.
He said his last date ended at the C. Willie Miles show. And he got way more enjoyment out of that show than he did 5 months of her.
I hear you. It's not always relationship stuff where the using and the being used comes into play. As Josh said earlier, recently a dude we worked with and we haven't seen for over a decade recently texted you and didn't say, hey, how you've been, didn't say, hey, I've missed you. It was straight to, hey, can you get me some concert tickets?
Yeah.
He's trying to use you. That's ridiculous. It's not always relationships. There's a lot of bro-on-bro crime, too, in this department. Listener says, one of my closest friends from years and years ago reached out to me for the first time in 8 or 10 years. Didn't invite me to his wedding, from a couple years prior. Never tried to make contact with me. But he bought a real fixer-upper house and knows that I'm an electrician. And he called me one day, talked my ear off for about 15 minutes, and then finally said, oh, hey, by the way, I was going to see if you could do some wiring on my house.
What a douchebag. I wonder how often that happens to people in the trades, not just from folks that they've met, an acquaintance here or there, but from family members,
Long-lost cousin?
Yeah. I've had that happen with cousins I didn't know I had ask, oh, my gosh, did you know Metallica's coming to town for 2 shows?
I don't have a Jesus named Jesus. I had an old friend I played ball with in elementary and middle school. We didn't talk for 15 years. He calls me out of the blue one day and asked me how everything was going and how life was. I thought he really wanted to catch up and rekindle the friendship. He then proceeded to try and sell me some life insurance.
Dude, that is the worst when one of your friends does that for a living and they finish school and they get hired and they reach out to you.
I don't remember.
I'm good.
I don't remember how this came up, but I talked about this story just a couple weeks ago. I just remembered another one. There was a local band, and I really liked these guys until I got to know them. And, they hung out at the station a lot. And one guy in particular, super talented dude, and I just respected his talent so much. And he's like, hey, you know what? We're having this big party. And I apologize if you just heard this story. But he said, we're having this big party. I'd love it if you'd come. And I thought, oh, my gosh, I can't believe I'm being invited to this guy's party. I was so excited. And he's like, yeah, it'd be great. So just bring some, DJ equipment and stuff like that, and you can play the music. I was like, first and foremost, I don't know how to DJ a party. Nothing like that.
Why do people always assume we know how to DJ a party?
It's so weird.
It's so different. That's a talent I don't have.
Gosh.
This douchebag wanted you to sit there and play their music, I'm guessing.
Oh, I'm sure that would come up. But yeah,
that sucks.
He set it up. He was I think he was trying to trap me, where I couldn't go, oh, I've got a prior commitment for that day. Where he wanted me to say yes. I mean, I was so excited as a real young guy.
You liked them until you got to know them.
Until I got to know them.
Yeah.
It sucks.
That's how it works. I don't know about you, but I'm cooked. So, we're on tomorrow at 5:40. Goodbye.
No, we're contractually obligated to at least 6 more minutes.
Before we go, I found my favorite 2 text messages on the subject of using somebody or being used. My favorites from the entire day. And that's not to say that I disregard the others. Thank you very much for texting in. We always appreciate the texts. A lot of you have been very, very funny and helpful, as always. But these are my 2 favorites. One of our listeners texted in to say, my wife, I suspect, is using me for my body.
Well, that's good.
I want that someday. So bad.
And she knew she had to lock me down, or everyone else in town would be getting this pipe.
Everybody else in town.
She's pretty sneaky, man.
I got accused of that.
You got accused of what?
Earlier when I said that I asked my fiance if anybody's ever used him.
Oh.
He said, "You used me for sex."
Oh, yeah.
Oh, all right. Sorry.
Well, a lot of people use him for sex. He's probably attuned to that type of thing.
He's pretty good at it.
I thought about a time I used a job aside for just a paycheck.
I can tell, knowing you as long as I have, can I try to finish the story?
Yeah, go ahead.
You became a movie theater ticket taker guy just so you could see free movies.
No, but that was a nice I loved that job.
You did.
Oh, can I guess?
Go ahead.
That you got into landscaping and lawn care so that you could learn how to do all that stuff.
That was part of it, but this was more using. I didn't intend to do this, but I worked at County Seat. Pre-buckle, is that what it is now? It's clothing.
Oh, it's a clothing store. Okay.
Yeah.
I remember the County Seat very well. We would go there before school started.
Yeah, it was before school started.
You know what I mean?
Oh, in the summer?
You know what I mean? For school clothes.
Oh,
back to school shopping.
Yeah, back to school
I don't know the verbiage, but yeah,
Sure.
a pair of jeans back then cost 35 cents.
Yeah, well, not there. They had some very expensive one, Gerbeau jeans, and I worked there for the discount. And so I essentially worked there just long enough where I could buy it at discount price, and then I quit.
A pair of Gerbeau jeans.
Yeah, it wasn't necessarily on purpose. I just realized, boy, I'm not cut out for this job. It's really tough folding some of this stuff.
Yeah.
The County Seat.
Yeah.
And how long did you wear those jeans for?
I wore them, I think, once, felt like a douchebag, and gave them away.
Oh.
I love that you worked at the County Seat.
Not for very long. My boss was great. She even said, hey, out of curiosity, are you working here for the discount? And I had to tell her, why, yes, I am.
You had to be honest with her because
I wasn't going to lie to her.
Even when you were a kid, you were the most honest guy in town.
I told her, yeah. And I thought, well, is she going to fire me before I get my discount? And she was cool. As soon as I hit my Gerbeau numbers, that was it.
I bet you weren't the only kid there doing that same routine.
Oh, she made it seem like that happened.
I didn't remember that they had the fancy jeans. My memory of the County Seat was just straight up Levi's or Lee jeans at the County Seat. But
no,
you know
we had Guess, we had Gerbeau.
Really, it must have been after, you were a little younger. I remember when Gerbeau jeans were the must-have clothing item when I was a junior high kid.
You and I both went to, there was a lot of wealthier kids at the schools we went to, so yeah, they all had those jeans.
And you know who got a pair of Gerbeau jeans?
Wang?
Do you know who got a pair of Gerbeau jeans before, I think, maybe our 8th grade year? My twin brother. You want to guess who did not get a pair of Gerbeau jeans?
Well, I'm going to guess you by your reaction.
That's right. That's right. You know what I got?
What?
My twin brother's jeans that he wore the year prior.
Oh, so
Were they Gerbeau?
No.
Were they Guess?
No.
Oh, man.
All right. One more text on being used. This one, my all-time favorite. I was buddies with a guy who didn't have a car. And he asked me if I would drive him to Chipotle. And the guy said, I got a buy one, get one free burrito coupon.
Oh, no.
Would you take me to Chipotle? And the guy said, well, yeah, that sounds pretty good. So he drives his friend, and his friend got 2 burritos for himself, and he bought his own. He said, I didn't even want Chipotle.
That sucks.
A friend of mine, he's an electrician, and he did a bunch of work at a buddy's house, and the buddy's like, dude, I'm going to take care of you. I know you're a busy guy. I'm going to make sure you get paid. And he paid him in a buy one, get one free Chipotle coupon. That's how he...
Come on!
It was not exactly what he thought he was going to get. But he's like, hey, man, here's a coupon.
Come on!
One of his neighbors.
You're a scumbag if you do that.
That was pretty good.
All
His
right.
neighbor's in his 40s. He knows better.
Come on. Be a person. Be a good person next time around.
He tricked him.
Now we can legitimately wrap the show up, I think. At this particular time, we can head in that direction.
I think that's fair. Yeah, we're pretty close. But before we go, we would like Remodeling Jesus to know we're thinking of you and sending our best to your family. They're navigating some health issues with one of their children, so praying for the best and sending you guys some positive vibes and love from 93X here. Best of luck and congratulations to Arcs and Sparks Jesus, moving on to a different gig after today. Happy birthday to Jack, turning the big 05 today from your grandpa, Harry Jesus. Happy birthday to Lil Smokey Jesus from Rice County Bushlight Jesus. Thanks one and all for listening. Tomorrow's our Friday, and it would make it a great one if you'd join us then. Have a good one.
93X Half-Assed Morning Show. 93X.
Well, if it isn't our wonderful podcast listener, the ones that all of us on hams love the most. Dana here to give you a little gentle reminder to hit up our friends at Standard Heating and Air Conditioning and tune up that AC before it fully turns into crotch soup season. June through August are Standard's busy season for getting AC units up to snuff, so get ahead of the curve and have them ensure you don't have a summer where you pit out every shirt you own. Book in May during their pre-summer heat savings event, and you'll beat the rush and save yourself some walking around money. Call Standard Heating today or visit standardheating.com. Enjoy the show. We sincerely appreciate you checking us out each and every day.